Coming to you live here from Port Moresby, not to be confused with Mr. Mosby. Port Moresby is the sprawling capital of Papua New Guinea, a country north of Australia. The vast anthropological collection at the PNG National Museum and Art Gallery includes masks and carved wooden poles. We are here today with ESL Open Cup Asia Division number 235. I'm, of course, your host, Yaku of Nizaku, and with me today is El Ingeniero Eficiente que Corre Sin Miedo, Light _VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? It's great to be back. We apologize, everyone, for the stream going down earlier. As a result, we missed out on game 1, but we are jumping in mid-series. We're jumping into game number 2.
Here we go, kicking it off, or continuing it off, here on Oceanborn. Over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left, we have our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be representing Team Falcons. We have Rogue.
Is that what Falcons sound like?
It's not, now that I think about it. Falcons sound more like Falcon Punch. That's what they sound like.
And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran, leading the series 1-0. It is Oliveira. Here we go. Again, we do apologize for missing out on the first game, but we're at least able to jump in mid-series, and we're jumping into game 1. Oliveira, of course, with the lead, which honestly I'm really... Oh, actually, I was going to say I'm a little bit surprised by, but no. I mean, based on the TVZ that we've seen from Oliveira as of late, he has been on fire. Rogue has been improving quite a lot, quite quickly, but still, Oliveira is a world-class player.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, he's a normal man, but, you know, even normal people can be world-class.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide. He is. Still the reigning world champion.
There you go.
If you will, but... yeah, Oliveira, he's pretty much got TVZ down to a science lately. You know, the kind of defensive Zerg style that has been popping up, popularized by the likes of Cyril and whatnot. I think Solar and Dark have been exploring it a little bit as well. If there was ever a player who has ever figured out that style and has been able to smash it, it has been Oliveira. The hyper-aggressive parade pushes that just continue to pile on the pressure until your Zerg opponent breaks.
Oh yeah, hyper aggressive, and we'll see if that continues to be the case, especially in the lead up to the Esports World Cup. I'm curious as to the form of Oliveira and whether or not he's trying out different things, different builds. For the time being, very different here. It is 3cc, true, but that is a second Rax already for Oliveira.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's a 3cc before Starport. You know, we're getting some pretty normal economic play, but then I had to do a double take when you mentioned that. That's a barracks. The factory is only now beginning.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the factory was delayed to an interesting 2-1-1 variation, 3cc 2-1-1, might I add. So with this, we're going to be building up a pretty hefty bio army. The downside is that Oliveira has very little map control. We have the one Reaper across the map, but no Hellions to help support. So Oliveira's not really looking to deal any economic damage for the time being, is building up towards his eventual stim timing.
Yeah, and it's gonna hit like a truck. Rogue, he doesn't really have eyes on this. If he did, I imagine he'd be a little bit greedier right now. As he does still have his standard 6 lings out on the map, not sending them across the map to scout or anything, although we do have one of them fanning out to keep tabs on the third.
Yeah, we have our lings being somewhat active here for Rogue. Meanwhile, back at home, there's that sim that we spoke about, so there's a starport. We should be seeing a reactor and an add-on swap momentarily as well to get into our drop play. And because, as you mentioned, because of this opener of choice, and the Ling does scout, does get eyes on the additional Raxes, and we see everything. Ling sees everything in the main base, a very important scout here, and Rogue now knows that there's a window where he can be greedy, he can drone, at least until that stim does finish.
Yeah, and we're seeing drones on that production tab. But I'm now on the way. He will need to stop eventually once he finishes saturating this third base, but like you said, he's got this window and he's enjoying the view.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful view here for Rogue. As again, there's no Hellions to really harass, there's no Banshee, there's no Liberator, there's no nothing. So now is the time to drone. And Rogue even being a little bit greedier here, going double Evo Chamber. This means that he's delaying his Baneliness, he's delaying his Lair as well. Not for too much longer, but he does prioritize his upgrades instead. So yeah, Rogue cutting as many corners as he can, and we'll see if he can get away with it, as Stim is about to finish and the medevacs will soon move out.
Like so many Marines waiting down here, just waiting for the high ground vision.
Oh.
And almost immediately, the Overlord dies.
There you go, the Overlord does go down. Unfortunately, we do kick the Reaper out, so we had to make room for the Marines. So the Marines will add in these medevacs.
In the medevacs.
True. As we are going to be dropping across the map, Lings are in position, but our goal here is to try and deny the fort.
Yeah, which should be, there we go. Just a matter of right-clicking on it. Rogue doesn't quite have the Baneliness just yet. He is fully saturated on 3 bases though, so he's not going to be hindered too much when it comes to just remaking Lings right now to try to slow this down.
Yeah, is going to be able to hold on, but is contained to 3 bases, and that's all that Oliveira has to do with this army, is just poke around, clear up some creep, and deny the fort time and time again. Rogue will expand towards the left-hand side. Oliveira is making his way over in that direction. Thankfully, there is a little bit of creep, and Rogue is in position at least with these Lings.
Yeah, these Marines are also very badly stimmed, so Oliveira, yep, taking it safe, just pulling back for now. Doesn't really want to overstep his grounds and give up the map control that he's worked this long to establish.
Exactly. So far, so good, but we don't want to throw it away here for Oliveira. We don't want to overextend and throw away our lead. Back at home, 3rd base is being taken. Tanks are setting up. Oliveira is settling into his own economy. Still being active with the Marines, but alas, the 4th base will not be denied. Not this time, and Rogue is even double expanding, just making sure that he's able to get one of these bases up and running.
Yeah, and Precision Pit on the way as well. So, very greedy play coming out here from Rogue. Very greedy, super safe.
Yeah, very greedy indeed. Just taking up quite heavily here, keeping up with the drops initially. Again, it's only a double drop. The rest of the army is staying back at home, so Rogue is able to drone up a little bit more freely here, getting for 3 base saturation, massing up Ling Bane and going straight for the lair. Sorry, straight for the hive.
Yeah, already had the lair. We normally expect the Zerg player to get the lair at around this timing, but Rogue, he goes fast. He's taking shortcuts left and right.
He be zooming. I mean, the hive is on the way. At the same time, Ling Bane catching reinforcements. Not bad. Marines getting caught out, but Oliveira is committing here. That's 3 tanks with the main army. Up.
A terrifying prospect right now, as the Banelings will be able to connect with a whole bunch of SCVs. Not quite getting the Marines, but he will be able to take out a tank as well. So decent damage here from Rogue, but does he have enough left over to stop the tide of Terran coming his way?
That's the question. 1 base goes down. Remember, the Rogue double expanded. He has a 4th base regardless, so is going to be able to maintain his production, is going to be able to maintain his economy, and Rogue, he ignores this main push. He's going across the map for another counterattack.
Trying to force a little bit of an all-in by the looks of things. I mean, he can't be going for a base retreat, right?
Yeah, is going to try to cripple the economy and force the all-in. As you were saying, Bailey's are going to be rolling in. Oh, nice target. Oh my god, the target firing out of Oliveira.
That's been absolutely fantastic. 1 Baneling will connect right at the end there. But unfortunately, that's also all of the Marines, so the Lings are going ham on the mineral line. A lot of Banelings up this ramp and a lot of Queens as well. Tanks are not sieged, and the Banelings will crash. GG, Rogue going to be tying things up 1-1.
GG, well played. Very greedy, very patient play out of Rogue. Time and time again, we saw that Rogue, he never fully engaged with the main army. He would just let it go, let it happen, allow these bases to fall, evacuate it, and just commit to these big counterattacks. It's like, you know what? You can kill my 4th base. I have a backup 5th base anyway, and I can just cripple the economy and force you into the all-in.
Yeah. I was kind of questioning that for a second there from Rogue. I was thinking, like, do you really want to go across the map right now when you have 3 tanks knocking down your natural base? But Yeah, it turned out to be the right call here from Rogue. He crippled the economy, he forced the all-in, and then it was just a matter of staying secure at the top of that ramp, getting one good connection on the Marines, and Oliveira just didn't have an army. Not only didn't have an army left, but also didn't have an economy to rebuild that army.
Yeah, did not have the economy, had no sustain there whatsoever, and yeah, unfortunately, Oliveira, he just missed the counterattack. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have left additional supply back at home to defend. Alas, he was completely defenseless. He was not ready for that push and not ready for the counterattack, and with that, we find ourselves in the ace match.
Here we go. I gotta tell you, lad, I wasn't quite expecting a 2-1 here coming out. I wasn't expecting this series to be this close. I was personally expecting more of an Oliveira 2-0, if I'm being honest, but Rogue, I guess I'm underestimating just the pace and the how quickly he's been able to get back in form.
Oh yeah, Rogue, he has been able to improve very quickly here, despite being back only for a couple of months. It's been impressive, and here he is in the top right-hand corner of Alkyone. We have our South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue.
And over here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spotting all the way here in the bottom left, we of course have our red Terran player coming out from the land of China. He's of course going to be representing Weibo Gaming, WG. We have a normal man. He is Oliveira.
Here we go, and yeah, we're tied up 1-1. We're going all the way to the ace match here, and we weren't really privy to what happened in game 1. At least in game number 2, we saw an interesting build out of Oliveira going 3CC 2-1-1. Rogue was able to successfully scout, able to identify it, able to respond, able to react, and able to be quite greedy in the follow-up there, and yeah, it was just a really solid reaction out of Rogue as to the build of choice from Oliveira.
Yeah, which is really what Rogue does best, isn't it? Just very reactive play. He is typically known to be one of the, I would say one of the better, I'm not sure if intuitive is the right word to use here, but, you know, just when it comes to reactive play, Rogue is definitely at the top when it comes to Zerg.
Oh yeah, and he's looking to, like, at least lay claim to that once again now in his return to competitive form, and we'll see if he can really embrace that here. It's going to be a big win if Rogue can bring Oliveira down, especially considering Oliveira is currently in tip-top form, but last game was very intense. It was a very intense, very short game overall. Things very quickly escalated out of control. On a map like Alkyone, I expect a longer game. I expect more of a back and forth. I'm happy to sink my teeth into this map and into this ace match.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I get what I'm just saying. We're going to be seeing Turtle Terran coming up here, and we're going to be seeing the Zerg player just take every other base on the map. Just try to starve out Oliveira here. Oliveira, win condition is make sure that he can mine from a 5th. Rogue's win condition, just deny that over and over again.
We'll see if he can. See if he can deny that base. As we get into this, a big shout out to Aistan in the chat. Papi, oh my god, for gifting a tier 1 sub to the community. Thank you so much. Gracias, papi. Gracias. Thank you.
Muchos, papi.
Ah, mucho. Thank you so much for the support, Aistan. We always do appreciate it. Aistan, he's always there every single day. Usually he's the first to arrive. He's the first to be satisfied.
Verify.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, to receive satisfaction, yeah.
It's true. It's very selfish. It's fine. As I said, we love you, Aistar. We love you. As behind this, once again, we're going for a 3CC, but oh, interesting. This time it's a different variation of 3CC 2-1-1.
Yeah, this time he's actually incorporating a couple of Hellions. We did go for, I would say something a bit more standard when it comes to 2-on-1, which is you get your first racks, you get your factory, and then you get your second racks. This is all scouted by Rogue, by the way. But yeah, a little bit more standard this time coming out from Oliveira, but he is also getting a couple of Hellions thrown into the mix, so they're just kind of making sure that he is able to be out on the map as quickly as possible, not going to have to wait until he has those 60 Marines.
Yeah, as you were saying, like, to kind of put a little bit more emphasis on it, both game 2 and game 3, it's been 3cc 2-on-1, but different variations. In the last game, you expressed your kind of surprise in seeing such a fast second racks and no Hellions with the earlier variation. This time, this is more standard. It's a much more standard version of this. Because of these Hellions, we can actually pose a threat to the creep tumors and even threaten the mineral lines a little bit more. Not too much, but at least a little bit more map control here now in favor of Oliveira. The downside is that Rogue saw everything. As you mentioned, he's fully aware of what's going on.
Hey, it doesn't happen too often, but when it does, sometimes the Zerg player just leaves a little tiny gap in their defenses, and these two Hellions go straight into the main base. The drones line up. Ooh. And you have yourself a barbecue.
That's what Terran dreams are made of, Pappy. Oh my god. And we do see Rogue actually embracing something different. So he's been droning this entire time. He has been droning up. He has been focusing on his economy, which is the right call to make. But that is a Roach Warren on the way, not Ling Bane.
Yeah, interesting choice here coming out from Rogue. As in the previous game, he was extremely Ling Bane heavy. In fact, we weren't quite able to get into our Hive Tech. The game ended too soon, but I imagine it was going to be just straight up Ling Bane into Ultras if we did get that far. This time, very different style. Still making Lings, was mostly making safety Lings for the time being, but Rogue getting +1 range weapons, focusing a lot more on his Roach Ravager, which is an interesting diversion to make. Not really sure what prompted this from Rogue.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little more defensive. I would imagine this more Ling Bane counteracting style is less effective on a larger map like Alkionis, so maybe Rogue is just getting ready for a longer game and is just going to take a very different role. Very different role here for Rogue, just being the defender instead. He does have the opportunity to maybe even go for an all-in if we cut workers earlier on, so we'll see if Rogue does decide to cut workers or if we go back into droning after we deflect the initial push.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes on that production tab as 13 roaches are on the way, and we'll also have to keep our eyes on the worker count. Rogue has stopped at 3 base saturation. This 4th base for now only going to be utilized to create more units, and that's a lot of roaches on the way.
That is a lot of roaches, and again, I'm really curious to see if we go for another wave of roaches after this. It looks like we are going for another wave. Okay, Rogue is committing, and as you mentioned, this base is only for lava. No 4 base saturation. We cut at 66. We're making nothing but Roach Ravager, and we are getting ready for a push.
Here we go. Oliveira has been poking around that 4th base. Has noticed that it's not saturated despite being done for quite a while, so we'll see if he's able to kind of put 2 and 2 together here, as he's kind of setting up for a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a push, but a little bit of a pressure.
Yeah, he is poking out at the same time. The counterattack does find a tank. Not a bad pickoff here for these Lings. At the same time, here comes the Roach Ravager pushing right through the center. Now, Oliveira does spot the move out. He spots the army, but does he have enough to defend? Does he have enough in position?
Yeah, losing that tank definitely hurts in this defense now. You have 2 tanks to work with, which might be enough. We don't have that many Ravagers right now. It's all about how well these Marines can buffer.
Yeah, the first tank goes down. We have 2 more behind this. I mean, the Marines, they do take down the Roaches. We're running out of them. The Ravagers looking a little bit more exposed. And it looks like Oliveira is going to be able to get on top of this.
That he is, but he loses all of his tanks, and there are more Roaches on the way. SCV's now providing more of a buffer. Biles not landing. Great start stepping coming out here from Oliveira, but it looks like that's just too much Zerg.
There's barely too much. The SCVs go down. I just realized we don't have WSS Game Heart. But 22 SCVs go down in the defense, and it looks like we have broken the 3rd base location. More Ravagers on the way. It was a close defense, but alas, Oliveira barely did not have enough.
Yeah, probably did as well as he could in that situation, but the math just wasn't on his side.
Exactly, as it looks like the Roaches are going to be overwhelming the third base. I mean, losing that one tank earlier was huge, as you pointed out. If we had even one extra tank with that defense, then that could have made the difference there in whether or not we would have been broken. So, alas, every unit does count, or did count in the lead up to the all-in. And we can see that Oliveira is now stuck on 2 bases. Does have a planetary up and running, to be fair. Like, he has an economy to work with.
Yeah, and he still has his production intact. It's just... it's going to be very difficult for him to break out of this contain.
Oh yeah, it is going to be difficult. And Rogue, he's going for the planetary as well. He does recognize it. He's going to shut it down. The Miles will connect.
Oh. I love how he herded these SCVs into a corner there in order to maximize the use of corrosive vials. So yeah, planetary goes down, and since we don't have game heart, I have to do a little bit of math. So 19 more SCVs go down that. Plus a couple of mules.
There you go. The mules, the SCVs all did fall. You can see Oliveira trying to retake that third base, but alas, Rogue, he is here to knock Oliveira down once again. The supply does not lie, and Rogue just has far too much momentum on his side.
Yeah, he's maxed out, and that's straight up double the supply that Oliveira has. This is a very tight defense here coming out from Oliveira. He's actually chasing this back.
Yeah, that was maybe the best fight Oliveira could have hoped for. The tanks stood strong, the Liberator as well. The Biles were trying to focus on the Libs. One Liberator did fall, but that did a great job of just kind of like diverting the attention of the Ravagers away from the tanks. And that was an impressive defense by Oliveira. That was the first step on the road to recovery, but we still are lacking in workers. We still barely have any SCVs.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where that was a very efficient trade for Oliveira, but for the time being, Rogue can afford to take inefficient trades. He still has a better economy. He doesn't really have a bank. I mean, he's just spent all of his gas. But he is still mining. He can still remake. It's still going to cost him way less to remake his army compared to Oliveira, where it's going to cost him way more to rebuild his core units. Now, in fairness, he didn't actually lose any of his tanks back there. He lost one Liberator and he lost a bunch of Marines, but those are a bit more expendable right now.
Yeah, now what I'm concerned about here is that Rogue, he hasn't been droning. Like, we have saturation at the 4th, but that's only because we're running out of, like, minerals elsewhere. Like, in the main base, we're transferring workers over towards the 4th. The drone count is still very low for Rogue, which means if Oliveira can pull off another amazing defense, like the one that we just saw, then Oliveira can bounce back.
Yeah, economies are starting to even out with the power of mules. Oliveira actually has better mineral income right now. Gas income not looking as good, but I mean, he's not as gas intensive. His army isn't gas intensive as Rogue's.
Yeah, but we're getting on top of the tanks. The tanks are going down. There's one tank left. The Biles, they will connect. And it looks like we have broken through. There just was not enough of a buffer, not enough Marines to help protect those tanks. And Rogue once again is breaking through. At the same time across the map, there is a drop. Drones are going down. But Rogue has done it, and Rogue takes the series 2-1.
GG. Nicely done here from Rogue. Again, game number 3, that was probably the best defense that I think Oliveira could have pulled off, considering he kind of scouted the all-in too late, but I mean, that's kind of the crux of the issue, right? By the time he did realize what was coming his way, he just didn't have the numbers on his side. He didn't have enough tanks, he didn't have enough of a Marine buffer. He had a pretty good wall outside that third base location, but yeah, unfortunately, that wasn't where Rogue was fighting. That wasn't where Rogue entered.
Yeah, unfortunately not. There was an opening available, and likewise, just not enough Marines or not enough bio to help protect all those tanks. The tank line was good, but on its own, it is quite fragile. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Rogue does advance on. Oliveira is knocked out in one of the earlier rounds, and we're going to be following Rogue into his next series.
Yeah, I just realized after you pointed that out, Oliveira is knocked out in the first round that he plays in. Not only that, but also in a TVZ. That is not at all what I was expecting, looking at Oliveira's form specifically in the TVZ matchup in these past couple of weeks. That's a very impressive result here from Rogue.
Oh yeah, very impressive. And again, a very different kind of Zerg player compared to someone like Cyril, for example. Rogue was hyper-aggressive. Right in Game 2, we saw some mass Lingbane counterattacks to punish the pushes of Oliveira. Likewise, here in Game 3, all in, right? 3 base Roach Ravager all in as well. Just, again, very aggressive play from Rogue and is able to take the win here. So GG. And with that, let's have a look at the bracket. What's been going on?
Yeah, let's have a look at a bracket. And I gotta say, like, before we get into some of these matches, I was not quite expecting the turnout that we had. Obviously, we have about the same amount of check-ins as we usually do, but I was expecting a little bit fewer just because the Esports World Cup is coming up pretty recently or pretty soon, and yeah, we definitely have a couple of big names here qualified for that event, who I would have expected to take a step back and maybe try to hide some of their builds, but glad to see them coming in here. We have Dark, we have Classic, we have Oliveira, as we just pointed out, Hero and whatnot, so, well, Hero kind of, but we'll get into that pretty soon. But yeah, I'm glad that we still see players coming in, despite the fact that we don't have any EPT points being awarded this week.
Oh yeah, yo, the players, they gotta eat.
Less of an incentive to play. They do gotta eat. Their families gotta eat too.
True.
Players, yeah.
Exactly. So, even without the EPT points, they're here for that prize money. They're here to get fed. And let's quickly go over some of these upper rounds here. From the top, !B, if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. We have Dark versus Trap has begun in a ZVP. Winner moves on to the quarterfinals, where it looks like we have another update already. Ooh. Nightmare took down DRG 2-0.
Nicely done here for Nightmare. Again, he's just been leveling up quite a lot in these past couple of weeks. We normally expect a player of the caliber of DRG to at least take a map off of Nightmare, but yeah, Nightmare, he's just been really becoming a lot more well-rounded, improving a lot more in not only his PvT, but also his PvZ, evidently.
Oh yeah, impressive stuff here for Nightmare. Scrolling down even further, we do have our own matches. Classic took down Jeshi 2-1. Jeshi took a map off of Classic. Bappy. Jeshi. Impressive. Doesn't bring Classic down, but forcing him to the ace match in a PvP is no easy feat.
Not at all. So once again, these Chinese Protoss players absolutely in. Man, I'll have a little bit of something to say about Cyan or Lancer as we get to that, but yeah, these Chinese Protoss players definitely coming back into form, definitely very motivated to play. And so Classic versus Rogue, that's going to be starting up pretty soon as our players conduct their vetoes. We already know Rogue took down Oliveira 2-1. We just saw that. Hero kind of teased us today. He was missing in the past 2 or 3 weeks in ESL Open Cup, or at least the past 2 weeks in ESL Open Cups, and we saw him check in today, and we thought, yo, he's coming back. We're going to see, Classic versus Hero again. We're going to see Dark versus Hero again. It was AFK for 20 minutes and ended up getting walked over by Rex over here, so yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but yeah, at least we will get to see a little bit more of Rex here as he does move forward to face Creator, who took out Firefly 2-0.
Yeah.
Now, Creator beating Firefly, not too surprising, but it being a 2-0, that is very surprising for me, in my mind.
Yeah, that's an impressive result here at a Creator. Firefly has been looking better and better as of late, so to bring him down 2-0, likewise, is very impressive. So GG, well played. Looks like we have our lobby in game. Looks like we are diving into this.
No.
It's okay. I'll leave the lobby and then maybe we can rejoin.
Yeah.
Okay. Join.
Okay.
We do have our lobby. Yeah, we do have our lobby set up. We are jumping into our next series. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have Scarlet versus Lancer. I believe that's being casted by Chicken Man. Shout out to the other English casters. It's ourselves, Wardy, Chicken Man, and I think Beomolf as well.
Yeah, I just jumped over to Chicken Man's stream, and it looks like they are in the ace match. So Scarlet versus Lancer. Very close series. I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised to see Scarlet here. Not somebody who we normally see in ESL Open Cup Asia. Normally when she does participate, it's more in ESL Open Cup NA, but yeah, I guess it is summer over there in Canada, so that screws with the sleep schedule a little bit.
I was gonna say that we haven't seen a lot of her just because she hasn't been in Korea for a long time, but from my understanding, I believe she's currently in China. I believe she is currently visiting, and I think she's been there for like a week or two or something, so she's it's like of the time zone.
Ah, okay, there we go. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit more of Scarlet here in the ESL Open Cups.
Yeah, really.
I'm torn if we should. Yeah.
Really?
I'm torn if I should continue or if we should do the intros.
It's all good. It's all good. We do love to see it as we are diving into our next series.
Here we go. Gonna be kicking things off here on Golden Aura and a little bit of a ZVP, where we're here in the top left-hand corner of the map, swinging all the way in the top left. We, of course, have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be representing Team Falcons. He is the sexy boy himself. It's Rogue.
That's not the sound of a falcon, Yaku. That's not what they sound like.
Is it not?
No.
I only have woo-woo birds where I'm at.
Ah, I see. You have no reference.
I have no frame, yeah.
It's funny. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic.
To complete the thought that I had before we really get into our game, it's a little unfortunate here for Cyan. We do have the conclusion of that very intense rivalry between him and Coffee in the past couple of weeks. Try rack up those EPT points, but it's all been locked in, it's all been calculated, and Coffee did come out slightly ahead in EPT points, so he will be the other player from the Asia region, other than Oliveira, moving on to the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, Coffee is going to be the one advancing on, so my heart goes out to Lancer, but, again, still undeterred, still competing week after week, still looking to improve. Again, there's still more events to come. WTL, of course, is still ongoing, and I'm sure many other events on the horizon as well. So, yeah, that's why it's really cool to see Lancer still competing, despite not being able to be a part of EWC.
Yeah. Gotta show his son that, Protoss, it's a good race.
There you go. There you go. As we are settling in the chat, too. I see Babyling in the chat that she's been there for a month studying Chinese for a year. Oh, okay. Sorry. I assumed it was only going to be for a short period, but apparently it's going to be an extended stay.
There we go. Unfortunately, we weren't quite able to teach Scarlet enough Mandarin before going over, but yeah, I guess she's been. We know Mandarin.
You?
We know some Mandarin. Yeah. We know some Mandarin.
What are you talking about? You don't know any Mandarin. What do you mean?
I know some Mandarin. I know the swear words. That's all you really need to know.
You failed Mandarin.
Okay, excuse you. I failed Mandarin 12 times in my life before they finally let me drop it as a subject.
Oh my god. Okay. You know what, Yaku? No one can take that away from you. That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Like, okay, you failed Mandarin. I failed 12 times. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't fail a 13th.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I dropped it, but...
Yeah. Ain't no one gonna make you fail 13 times. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Oh, God. But regardless, it is really cool here. Really cool to hear that she's going to be over in the land of China for some studies, and that does mean that we may see some more and more of Scarlet's play here in the ESL Open Cups in the Asia region, which is, I mean, we're more than happy to embrace. But for now, we're settling into our builds, settling into our ZVP, and so far, standard openers. Oh!
Yeah, double Oracle coming out here from Classic. Was forced to utilize some of his Pulsar energy back home in the defense, but now he goes across the map a little bit unhindered, and, gets 7 drone kills. Pretty good.
7.
Oh! A little bit of unfortunate miscontrol here from Classic. It looked like that Oracle was A-moved for a second, so it turned around to attack a Queen before moving back home, and that was just enough distance for these Queens to get their volleys in.
It was almost clear skies there for that Oracle, but alas, does go down in the end. So it was some good damage out of Classic, don't get us wrong, but that was 7 drones to 1 Oracle. That's more or less a more even trade. So now Rogue has that much less to worry about. Queens are getting in position. Adepts, they do shading towards that natural base. Boys do get pulled away in time, but the Adepts can get some worker damage done. Oh!
Little bit. That's an 8th drone going down here for Rogue. But it doesn't seem like we're gonna get a ninth.
Yeah, it's going to be 8 working so far. Stasis trap into the main. We have another stasis trap in the back line. We don't quite commit to it. Another drone going to be going down.
Oh.
Not bad damage here at a classic. And behind this, we're working towards our next step, working towards Blink and +1.
Like so. Oh, a little bit of an earlier Templar Archives coming up from Classic. That's an interesting variation here. Oracle barely makes it out of here alive. Unfortunately, not quite able to throw around the stasis port though.
Oh yeah, stasis doesn't quite complete. Oracles are fended off. Behind this, Rogue getting into his 4-way setup. Oh my god, I think we didn't miss the stasis here.
That's a long idle.
I'm hoping that was a stasis, not a random hold position, but that was a little bit brutal there for Rogue. Is going to attempt to recover, but Classic has been building up towards his Blink Stalkers. Blink is almost done. I'm sure we're soon going to be hitting the field with our army.
Yeah, getting towards it. Well, potentially, as Classic's actually slowing down a little bit, not looking to hit a +1 timing just yet. Anyway, getting that 4th base, getting Storm as well. This is not really something we see too often in PvZ. Obviously, a lot of PvZ does end up teching towards Storm eventually, but not quite this early.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is a lot more of a defensive passive style out of Classic, a little more tech heavy. As you just mentioned, right, we've been skipping warpins. We focus and prioritize at 4th base. We tech up into Storm, into Immortals. So Classic is taking a much more defensive approach here, which is something we don't often see from him.
Yeah, normally when I think Classic, at least in PvZ, I think back to, obviously, that legendary series he had against Rogue, specifically, back in BlizzCon 2019, where he did throw out all of the tricks from the Protoss Dirty Book, DTs and everything like that. He is a little bit of a trickier player in that regard, just tries to pull a fast one on his Zerg opponents, but here, Classic is just playing straight up macro, is just playing straight up passive, and is just saying, if we get to the mid-late game, I'm just gonna have a better army than you.
Yeah, exactly. He's just building up. I mean, both players are. Like, Classic, he's working towards Storm and Immortals and his second Rebel for massive mortal production. At the same time, Rogue is taking up into a Hive, into Lunker Tech as well. Who do we favor coming into this? Worker counts are looking pretty comparable with each other. Rogue, he's on 89, soon to be 90 workers. Likewise, Classic up to 84. So our economies are looking strong, they're looking powerful. But the question becomes, who moves out first? As we're going right into Sky Toss. Oh my god.
Okay, yeah, Fleet Beacon now on the way, as well as a second starport. This is very risky here, coming out from Classic. He is basically, again, just throwing out that gentleman's agreement and banking on Rogue, just hoping that Rogue just doesn't attack him until he hits his final form, but that's not looking too likely, as Rogue himself is about to hit his own final form. He's close to maxing out, he's getting upgrades for his lurkers, he's getting cracklings, and he's looking to hit Classic right when his pants are down.
Yeah, and that's the big thing right now, is that Rogue, he needs to time this out correctly, and he needs to make sure that the pants are down, because the pants, they're coming up. Slowly, but they're coming up here with the carriers. I'm loving, oh my god, the contamination in the main base. Rogue is aware, and Rogue should be pushing.
Yeah, he knows his army right now is going to be much, much stronger than Classic's for, and this is the only timing where he really does have that army advantage, so he needs to hit while it's hot.
Yeah, exactly, and he is slowly pushing forward. There are Storms here on the high ground and leads to Storms. Overcharges what? At the same time, Lings do deny the 5th base. 5th is denied, and we do see Classic coming in for a surround, trying to collapse on these lurkers.
Yeah, decent Storms on the ramp, actually going to be able to take out the lurkers that were within range of that pylon, but not much left here to clean things up. This is a decent concave coming out here from Classic. Reinforcing Lings, though, are on the way. They do get full surrounds on top of these Immortals, but it looks like the Storms and the Archons are going to be just enough to deter this.
Yeah, we clean everything up. Look at the units lost have. That was 7 lurkers going down. A massive round there from a Classic. At the same time, Nidus swarm into the main, but nothing does pop out. We do shut down the Nidus, and Classic holds. And now, as you mentioned, the pants, they're up.
Oh yeah, they're up, and he's got a belt around him.
Oh yeah.
They ain't gonna fall down easy.
He's got a belt, he's got suspenders.
Yeah?
I don't know how else to
Got
secure
another
your
pair of pants. Double pants. Yeah.
There you go. He's double pantsed, double belted. Beautiful. He's locked down.
Oh yeah.
Locked up.
Yeah. Locked and loaded.
He's wearing a chastity belt.
Yeah. Is that really? Does that help with the pants?
Does it help with the pants? I don't know. It just what it does is even if the pants go down, like it doesn't mean anything, right? It doesn't do anything. Like you're safe anyway.
I see.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
As for now, the Lings are going to be forced back. The carrier count getting higher and higher, and this means that Rogue has to slow down. Basically, it's time to turtle. We got lurkers, we got spore crawlers, we got spine crawlers. We have a Woolasack defense on the way here for Rogue. It's time to get into a longer game. We're going to be here for a while.
It's time for Rogue to start getting pants of his own.
Yeah, there you go. It's time to invest.
Go to Taylor, yeah.
Time to get sized up.
Yeah. Taylor's still a thing?
Yeah. Usually people still get tailored. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I mean, people still wear clothes. They still wear pants.
They did what?
Yeah. It's crazy.
For real?
Yeah.
What does the world come to?
They're animals. Absolute animals. As we get lurkers harassing towards the northern side, for now just getting 3 probe kills. We do see Classic is able to wall up and deter as well, and really both players are refining their armies here. Skytoss, there's a bit of finesse to it. We have carriers, we have Storm, true, but no Tempest yet. We've yet to really embrace that. Usually we don't go into Tempest until we feel like our opponent is going to be going in towards Broodlords. That would be the tell.
Yeah, Broodlords and a Spore Forest. It's around the time we want to get that Tempest upgrade that deals bonus damage to its structures specifically.
Oh yeah, we'll see when we do invest into that Tectonic Destabilizers. For now, Link counterattack getting 3 probe kills. At the same time, Classic is pushing in, but again, he does run into that Spore Forest.
Mr. La-di-da. Tectonic Destabilizers. Ooh.
Oh.
Fancy.
I still don't remember the name for Ultra Speed. It always eludes me.
Like metabolic, not boost, but it's metabolic.
You know, I thought it
metabolic
was
something.
It's not metabolic.
It's not.
Like, it's like anabolic. It's another word.
Anabolic.
Yeah.
Well, it's bolic.
Yeah.
They got balls.
It does. There are a lot of balls on the Ultra.
Oh yeah. More from the Tempest, but you know.
There you go.
You got orange balls and blue balls.
And we've yet to really embrace either of those here. No Ultras or Tempests yet in this EVP, but we have a second Spire that's going to be for double upgrades. It's going to be for the Greater Spire. Rogue is working in that direction here. Now, what I am concerned by is that there's no kind of major economic lead from the Zerg. Usually, at this stage, the Zerg player would have map control. We'd be looking to expand and get a better economy, try to outmine the Protoss. That is not the case here for Rogue.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Rogue isn't going for that gold base right now. Like you said, it's really important for the Zerg player. Even if Rogue can't hold on to that base for too long, it's really, really advantageous for the Zerg player to just deny these bases from their opponent.
Yeah, I guess because of the earlier losses of lurkers, like Rogue essentially has no map control. Without map control, we can see that we're able to roll through. We do snipe 1, we snipe 2 of the carriers.
Yeah, really good yoinks coming out here from Rogue. Couple of good, decent feedbacks will force a Viper to regain its energy. I thought one Viper went down, but actually no. It's not enough energy on the Viper itself to actually take it out.
Yeah, able to top it up, able to transfuse, keep it up and running. At the same time, Classic rotating around, looking for another way in. We do have a Night Storm on the right-hand side, and with this, Rogue can try to apply some pressure on these bases. Meanwhile, Classic does activate the Cloak.
Yeah, but not gonna do too much when the mothership just gets yoinked.
Oh my god.
Right on top of Queens, Corruptors, and Spore Crawls as well. Unfortunately for Rogue, though, those Corruptors did sit right in the middle of a storm.
They did. They just sat right on top of the storm. You can see how low the Corruptors are. One Archon Volley or one more storm, and the Corruptors are just going to melt. And with that, Classic does back off. 12 more Corruptors on the way. Would you have to replace that? Would you have to rebuild? And that was not a bad fight for Classic, as he is now embracing those Tempests.
Oh, yeah, we're going to see a lot of balls. We do see Tectonic Destabilizers finish getting research, so you're seeing a little bit of orange in these Tempest walls.
There you go. There you go, adding a bit of color there. Meanwhile, there's that Greater Spiral on the way. But as Rogue is thinking about Broodlords, we're already ready for the Broodlords, right? We already have the Tempest, so Classic is that one step ahead. Likewise, Rogue still contained to this 6-space setup, has yet to expand, and it isn't just the lack of expansions, it's a lack of creep. Like right now, Classic has been doing an amazing job at just maintaining control of the map and denying any kind of creepers, but diving in. Oh!
Ooh, yeah, these Sky Toss units a little bit too slow on the retreat. Tempest and a Carrier will get yoinked and sniped.
And we do shut down a couple of those units, so not bad pickoffs here by Rogue. Classic has to retreat for a moment. Likewise, his main army, we're lacking a little bit when it comes to support. We only have the one Archon. That means that we are a little bit vulnerable here to the Corruptors.
Yeah. I mean, we got a couple of High Templar, but Storms can do a lot of damage, but it's not really the most efficient cleanup. You don't really want to be relying on Storms to really clean up these units here.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's risky, right? It's risky how heavily reliant we are on these Storms to zone away and to feedback as well. Like, these High Templar, they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. And there are only 4 of them, so technically it's enough. Got enough energy, but it will require a lot of attention, a lot of APM, and a lot of accuracy in Classic's targeting. Classic actually going to need a player to take that gold.
And you can see Classic already setting up a wall of cannons as well. There is Narcosis pylon powering everything, so we could try to knock this down, but for the time being, there we go. Lurkers are slowly pushing forward. Classic is aware that we have to make a choice. Do we defend the gold base or do we expand on the right-hand side? Regardless, Classic will get a base up and running. Oh.
But we also have a Nidus popping up here towards the natural base. A lot of production is over here. Classic, yeah, forced to recall. He just cannot risk all of his production going down. That was an insta-kill on the Nidus.
There was some emotion behind that insta-kill. That was very aggressive. Nidus does go down. Lings, they do hit the base. We did leave some High Templar back at home to defend, so nicely done here by Classic, leaving units in position. Bearing in mind that the base recall is now on cooldown, but we still have the Mothership recall available if need be, so we'll have to keep track of that. Again, especially when it comes to the late game, recalls do become a resource here for the Protoss.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be relying on trading out energy for money as much as you can.
Classic is going to be clearing up what little streamers there are. Rogue is gaining ground towards the left-hand side. We are laying siege over the base. The creep likewise also spreading as well, and Rogue is taking the gold.
Like so, once again, it's much more important for the Zerg player to be taking the gold base, not just because they want to be able to get their money and just start throwing units inefficiently as much as possible, but also just to deny the Protoss player from really getting that base and being able to build up all these expensive Sky Toss units.
Oh my god, yes, we do snipe one. We're going to snipe, not quite the second, just the one. Carrier going to be going down initially. Rogue going to be pulling back, investing into additional Vipers. Meanwhile, Classic rotating over. Lurkers are looking a little bit exposed, and the goal of this move out for Classic isn't just to clear up the Lurkers, but the creep and the base as well.
Yeah, I feel like Rogue has definitely tightened up as this game continues. I mean, he is being a lot more patient with his Corruptors. He's starting to look in different directions when it comes to tech. Starting to get anabolic boost here for his Ultras.
There you go.
And yeah, he's just not really making the same mistakes he was 10 minutes ago, like, say, stacking all of his Corruptors on top of Storms.
Yeah, we've recovered since then. We're also double expanding, right, bottom left and top right. Classic did not deny the hatchery.
Synthesis. There we go.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Analog synthesis. It's an odd one. It's an odd one. Yeah, classic. Sorry, Rogue able to double expand and is now going to be able to saturate. This is a big moment here for Rogue. It allows him to build up a bank. What's important right now is the bank, just because if you look at the current resources, Classic and Rogue actually have comparable sizes in that bank. So we do need to try to take a lead there from the side of Zerg.
You absolutely do. Nice destabilizing or depowering of these buildings right here from a Rogue. It's going to lay +3? Yeah, +3 ship armor for quite some time. It's usually odd. I don't usually see Protoss players go... I don't usually see games last long enough for a Protoss player to get +3 ship armor.
It is on the way, and yeah, you know, it's a bit of a rarer treat. We don't often get these longer games. We often see like just faster, chaotic games as well, which is what we mentioned before when it comes to Classic having a different approach this time, where he was a little more passive here against Rogue.
Yeah. He found out that Hero got walked over and decided that he doesn't have to ape it up.
Yeah.
This week.
He's like, oh, Hero's not here? I can play, like, normal? Oh, okay. I don't have to be an animal. Let's go.
Yeah. Switch just never got triggered, yeah.
Dude.
Or it did, but then it immediately flipped back.
As Classic still marauding around the map, it looks like he's going to be committing to top right. This hatchery should go down, but that's okay. Again, Rogue is happily mining from the gold, at least somewhat. Not fully saturated yet, but I'm sure we'll be getting there.
Yeah, eventually, as we do start to mine out the more established bases towards Rogue side of the map. Huge Ling run by, gonna try to once again depower these buildings, but one Zealot holding the line. He'll be preventing all of that.
Yeah, we have the Zealot, we have the Overcharge at the same time. Rogue's main army is sharking around looking for a stray unit, and it looks like we do find a Tempest.
Not too bad. Can we get another one? We can, but we will lose an Infestor, a Viper to get there.
Yeah, that was a brutal loss for Rogue, a Viper for a Tempest. Meanwhile, the Ling Rumbai didn't really achieve too much either. We will clean up all the Lings, and now Classic is rotating once again. We do see that Rogue has been sniping like one or two units here and there, but nothing too major yet. Is still just biding his time, waiting for his opportune moments, and hoping to at least take advantage of the gold.
Yeah, slowly starting to saturate it. Slowly starting to main arc his probes over, but still a lot to be decided over there. Nice feedbacks coming out here from Classic. That was... I feel like that storm on the Changelings was unnecessary, but once again, he's not tolerating any nonsense.
No, it feels personal. Oh my god. Calm down, pal. This was rotated around. But yeah, we do see that Classic has been a little bit too tentative with his army movement, as there we go, we force a recall. Ling Ultra counterattack does at least force back the army. But what I was going to say is that because the Lurkers haven't often been with the Corruptors, neither have any Broodlords, like we have 0 Broodlords currently, the High Templar, they can definitely be a little bit more forward. They can be a little bit more aggressive here, just try to proactively be ahead of the army and storm, I should say.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot that can really take out these High Templar right now. I mean, yeah, like you said, there are no Broodlords. There's nothing that shoots down. It's just the Lurkers that the ground army really has to worry about right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and we'll see if the Lurkers are going to be in position in time. And Classic once again maneuvering out. Top right did just go down, so Classic is denied mining from that north right, or that top right base. Rogue still sharking around and is actually quite heavily investing into additional Lurkers.
Yeah, we'll see if he can really spread them all out. How well he can really spread them across this map, because there are definitely a couple of openings right now for Classic if he ever chose to exploit them, but like you said, he is playing a little scared. He's being very tentative with his ground army specifically.
Oh yeah. Has been quite tentative, as Classic will find his way, and finally this gold base is going to be shut down. We weren't able to mine too efficiently from it, so there's still a lot of resources left available here at this base.
Yeah, definitely something Classic can take advantage of, and it's unfortunate here for Rogue, as you really do want to be starving out the Protoss player as much as possible. I do kind of like that Rogue is sacrificing his drones at this point, though. he is starting to get super max compared to Classic, who can do a little more, I feel, to get rid of his probes.
Yeah, we do have a pretty high worker count, a bit of an unnecessarily high worker count as we shut down 2 of these lurkers, the Lings as well. Thankfully, most of the army did evacuate with the Nidus Worm, but a nice cleanup there from the Classic. As we just see Rogue once again double expanding, once again main running over. Not the best saturation, but is at least taking resources away from Classic here.
And in this stage of the game where he's got 10k a 10k mineral bank, almost 6k gas bank, that's all he really needs to do right now. He is not at all... He's not hurting for resources, let's put it that way.
Yeah, the other important thing to take note of, even though the banks are very large and very comparable to each other, a Protoss army does take a lot longer to rebuild. So if a fight goes awry, if a fight goes badly for Classic too quickly and too heavily, then Rogue can snowball into a win. He can just snowball and just camp the production from there, as we do catch another stray carrier.
And it looks to be the game plan right now, as we do see another flood of Lings go right into the natural base. Corruptors are chasing this carrier. They wanted the carrier, just wanted to live.
Carrier gets shut down. Classic, he just keeps on pushing. He commits, he brings down another base, and Rogue is racing back home.
And he will be able to get here, but not before losing a couple of his bases. It's a mined out base, so it's not super important, but even still, it's nice to be able to maintain that production. Army makes it out of here with that recall, even the mothership.
Yeah, we recall towards the center right base, which means we're going for the fresh mining base of Rogue, so a very aggressive recall here from a Classic. Meanwhile, across the map, Nidus Worm does finish in the natural base. This hatchery will fall, and Rogue is gonna be losing his fresh mining bases here. Rogue, likewise, with not too much of economy left over, but again, at least has the bank.
Yeah, he is starting to remake his army, making more Ultralists here. Synthesized Ultras, mind you.
There you go. That's true.
They are fully upgraded.
And Nexus is going to go down. We catch us transferring workers. They're mining gold minerals, and the Ultras, they are here to stop them as they're going straight for the Nexus instead. Does force a cancel.
Yeah, okay, the Lings are here. They will stop them. It's like, the Ultras are here. They can swipe away. And it's like, oh, no, but they're not.
Yeah.
Like,
they can, though.
Probes just making it out of here. Good. They didn't, but yeah, thankfully the Lings were able to pick up the slack. Isn't that always the story, you know?
True.
Ultralists, they miss so much, and so do the Lings end up having to do a lot of the dirty work.
Smurge.
Shaking my head. Shaking my head, Zerg.
Give Lings the credit they deserve. As we do see, again, 14 probes going down. That is not insignificant. We did mention before, though, that we did want Classic's probe count to be a little bit lower. So, I mean, in a way, we help out. I mean, look how heavily oversaturated we are. Oh my god, that's a lot of probes.
That's 45 workers in that one mineral line. That's more workers than I typically make in a game.
It's true. It's true. So we do need to get rid of some of them, as there we go, we're going to be long distance mining instead. Likewise, Rogue once again double expanding, yet to really take advantage of these bases. Armies are rotating over, and once again, can we catch... Ooh, this time, High Templar in position!
Yeah, we'll be able to storm some of these Corruptors, but very quick reactions coming out from Rogue. He will pull away, keeping most of his army alive.
It does pull away in time. Classic rotates over. He's going to shut down this bottom left hatchery. At the same time, Rogue going to be able to start mining through top right instead, and I believe the recall is now off of cooldown, so we have both recalls available here for Classic, depending on how he does want to make use of them.
Yeah, this is what a recall straight into the main base, which, I mean, it's probably a bad idea, or does he just want to, continue to recall towards that fifth base location, and keep hammering away at that top right base.
Yeah, we'll
hatchery.
See, especially because Rogue, it looks like he's really committing to saving this hatchery this time. I mean, that's a wall of spore crawlers available. We have lurkers behind this as well. We'll see if Rogue can make this defense happen and can hold on to this base, as Classic is now mining towards bottom left. And there we go, wall of sag defense on the way.
With one pylon to keep it running.
It's true.
And it's an exposed pylon too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's on the opposite side. We'll see.
Not super optimal placement. But...
It's not ideal. It's not ideal. As lurkers coming in for a bit of a counterattack, they do manage to slip in, but Classic not too far behind. He will shut this down.
Like so, keeps the gold probes alive as well. Maybe spoke too soon. A lot of them will go down.
11 probes will fall. Rogue is now aware of the location of the army, and now here we go for the first time. Finally, Broodlords are on the way.
Here we go, and with that, Rogue is going to be able to be a little bit more forward with his main army. He's not going to have to, He's not going to have to skirt around kind of the edges of Classic for too much longer, because now he can zone away these High Templar instead of the High Templar zoning away the Corruptors.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting dynamic between these two armies here. As you mentioned, the Broodlords can be a little bit more assertive. You can see they're pushing towards the bases. Meanwhile, Classic is out of position. He's going to have to either recall or go for a counterattack. We'll see how he does respond as he is turning back around and the Broodlords are going straight for the base.
Yeah, a couple of storms get thrown on top of the Broodlords. Broodlords just a little too slow. All of these Ultralists gonna try to take out the High Templar, but Cloak does get activated, does keep these High Templar alive. Archons, Immortals, Tempests, all of them gonna be chipping away at that Ultra army.
Oh yeah. One swipe went off on the High Templar, but they did survive. They're still there in the back line. Underneath the army, still there to support. Meanwhile, Corruptors are coming in. Here comes the first yoinks.
And two carriers will go down.
Carriers go down. The Ultras, they do try to hit the bottom left, but last we have cannons. We have Immortals in the backline as well. This base looking heavily fortified.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good move here from Classic. I mean, these Immortals aren't going to be super useful on the ground anymore. It's, again, all about the High Templar. But they can be used for defense, and they do really well against Ultras, which, funnily enough, Rogue is relying right now as harassment units. It's not Lings, it's Ultras. It's big Lings.
Oh, yeah. They got the Ultras, the main army. Meanwhile, the Broodlords, they bring down this Nexus at the same time. We're trying to hunt down the Broods.
It looks like we will not quite get them. Not yet, anyway, but we are kind of herding the main Zerg army, or the Air Zerg army, into that top right-hand base, giving me a lot less room to maneuver.
Yeah, you see the storms being thrown down on the Changelings. The Ultras don't quite commit. As you mentioned before, the goal of these Ultras are to collapse on the High Templar to focus them down. Likewise, it's on Classic to keep those High Templar safe and sound, to zone away those Corruptors. And yeah, Classic not able to break through yet. How many High Templar do we have left? We have 9 High Templar. We have a decent amount of High Templar remaining.
Yeah. Not too bad, and of course, if we count Ultras, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, plus 9, 21 High Templar. Although, then again, you probably don't want to count Archons as High Templar, because
So I was confused when you were counting. I was like, what's going on? It's all good, it's all good. Yeah, true. Archons.
Yeah. Archons.
Okay. As Classic does rotate over, once again threatening the base. Rogue not in the best position to defend, so it looks like we will start to lay siege.
Slowly but surely. We have full eyes on top of all these 4 crawlers, and, orange walls. They make short work of them.
Yeah, we do see the shots going off at the same time. Broodlord's going for a counterattack. The Broodlords are spotted with the Revelation, and Classic, he will back off. It looks like he's forced to respond, forced to defend the gold. Well, what do we go for?
Or is he? Yeah, Classic, he's got options. We're going to storm right on top of this Corruptor army, and he will get a couple. Loses one of his carriers, and doesn't quite take out the, doesn't quite take down any Corruptors here, but it chips away at them a little bit.
I mean, it was a good storm. It was one pretty juicy storm there from Classic. Not enough to kill, but enough to soften up the army. At the same time, Ultra counterattack is going to force a recall. Yeah, the Immortals are forced to recall, and honestly, we could even try to push in just with Immortals, but alas, there are Lurkers to defend. We will require detection, and Classic doesn't gain any ground.
Not yet, anyway. As we're just posturing, we are 35 minutes into game number 1. I'm just realizing now. So yeah, we're just gonna be posturing around.
I didn't realize this was game 1. True. Yeah. I mean, we called it before how this is gonna be a bit of a longer one. Earlier when we saw the kind of high-tech play from our players. But here we go, we're pushing on forward. The Spore Crawlers will not finish up. We're just blowing our way through. At the same time, Corruptors, they're lying in wait, they're diving in.
Ooh, huge feedbacks on top of these Vipers. Rogue just gonna go straight for the Mothership, and I'm not sure that's the right call. A lot of storms get thrown down. Ultralisk not quite able to take out the High Templar, and Classic takes a massive lead.
Mate, those were insane storms, as you mentioned. The Ultras, they melted against the Immortals. The Tempest stands strong, and Classic, he can keep on pushing, he can keep on going. Meanwhile, Rogue is remaxing. Remember, he has a bank, he's remaxing, but he's actually supply blocked. Overlords are on the way.
Oh no, yeah. That's worrisome to say the least, as Classic is gaining so much ground. Rogue is remaxed, and he has a super maxed army. He literally only has 4 workers remaining. The storms on top of the eggs, though. Gotta kill these Corruptors before they even make it out.
Oh my god, they get completely shut down. Storms on the Lings as well. We are remaxing with Ling, Corruptor. Broodlords are coming in. That's a massive wave of brood. That's 20 Broodlords.
Yeah, and there's really an easy solution to them. Not while we still have Corruptors in the sky.
Oh my god. Rogue just spent his bank. He just spent 5,000 gas.
Yeah.
He had 5,000 gas and he spent it
in
all.
one cycle.
Oh my god. That's crazy.
He can make nothing but Lings now, and he's not mining gas either. He has literally zero mining. I mean, 0 gas mining. He is long distance mining from... not long distance mining, but he's got a couple of minerals he's mining from, but... Yeah, this is going to be the final hurrah of Rogue. If he wants to win, he needs to smash Classic's army here and now, and then keep pushing, but it's not looking too likely.
It is not, and here we go, we're collapsing on top of these Archons. Massive storm on the Lynx, and we get a storm on the Corruptors. Looks like we somewhat can. Broodlords are going ham in the back line, but if we can deal with all the Corruptors, then the Tempest can go ham. It's going to be close.
Going to be real close. These Overseers are the absolute MVPs right now, allowing Rogue to completely ignore the Mothership, and I cannot believe it, like, Rogue. He's taking this fight.
Somewhat. We have a flanking storm coming into play. The Corruptor count is completely reset, and the problem is that Classic has a bank. Classic has 4,000 gas in the bank. We have Void Rays on the way, and where are the Corruptors? We have 2 Corruptors. That is all the anti-air we have. That's all the anti-air we're ever going to get.
Yeah, very impressive here from Rogue to be able to take that fight, but that was just one battle in this 40-minute long war. That was, again, the final hurrah of Rogue, and he wasn't able to stop Classic then and there. Classic, he does need a little bit of time to rebuild his Void Rays. Actually going to be rebuilding Carriers now. It's a little bit of time, but he has it. He has it.
Exactly.
There's absolutely nothing Rogue can do to really stop him at this point.
Yeah, the problem is that Rogue, because he has no gas, can only make Lings, and he just burned through his mineral bank as well. He just burned through the mineral bank, so Rogue, he is broke, he's out of resources, he's completely out of money. There are resources on the map, but Rogue just doesn't really have any way to really make use of them at the moment. And as time goes on, Classic will be able to rebuild and refine his army. And yeah, GG gets called, the writing is on the wall, and Classic takes game 1.
That was only game number 1. As a reminder to all of you watching it back home, whoo! GG, very patient play coming up from both of our players here, but yeah, right towards the end there, it looks like Rogue was kind of the first one to snap in a way, kind of sensing an opportunity that wasn't really there when he dove in with his Ultras, with his Corruptors, without his Vipers, which I think is really the main factor in that initial engagement. If he did have those Vipers up and running, if we had a couple of Parabombs, if we were able to get maybe a couple of Blinding Clouds as well, but mostly Parabombs on top of that army, I think we would have seen a completely different result. I think we might have even seen a Rogue victory then and there, but yeah, a Classic very on top of things, very on top of his feedbacks, was able to prevent that and kind of win the engagement even before it happened.
Oh yeah.
And as a result, Rogue survived, but was never able to really get back on equal footing.
Yeah, like, I mean, you called it at the start of the fight, right? It's like the fight started with feedbacks. Like, the fight, as soon as the fight began, bam, like 2, maybe all 3 Vipers were feedback immediately from the High Templar, and as a result, like, there was very little support for Rogue. He had already committed to the fight, and we saw that, unfortunately, Rogue just did not have a large enough bank to really work with, and the fight didn't go well enough for him either to be able to snowball into a win. And with that, we're getting into game 2.
Indeed we are, which, you know, after a long game like that, usually, especially from our Korean players, I expect a short one, but hey, we're spawning into Alkione for game number 2, which doesn't necessarily lend itself too well to all-ins, aside from a couple of very figured out ones. But regardless, we are in Alkione for game number 2, and over here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left, we of course have our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing Team Falcons. We have Rogue.
It's like a wild cat. What was that? There was no bird involved there, Yaku. What's going on? You're like, Team Falcons, scratch.
Yeah.
Okay. Scratch. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is a classic, leading the series and 1 game away from advancing on into the next round.
Yeah, which he probably has an opponent, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to imagine by now, yeah.
Yeah, we were hearing some updates earlier. Yeah, but when it comes to this matchup here, I mean, when it comes to Classic, even especially in the absence of Hero, if Hero is not here, Classic, he's got to step it up, right? He's got to represent Protoss here in this tournament and do what a Hero otherwise would, take the win.
Yeah. Oh, that's where you're going with that. Okay. I think just, you know, be brazen and just you know, throw down a gateway right in front of his Zerg opponent. You know, taunt them. You know, like, what you gotta do? Stab me? And I get stabbed.
I'm not saying go full Hero. I'm not that crazy. Not that crazy.
Never go full Hero. Yeah.
Only Hero can go full Hero, and even then, it only works half the time.
Yeah.
But we love him for it. Though. We love him for it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's a trademark, you know.
You know why I think I've fallen more and more in love with Hero, especially in modern StarCraft. I think Hero is the most patient player that we have.
Yeah, that's where I was going with.
Yeah.
Especially in these online events, he just looks so patient. And I don't mean that. And I don't mean that he's playing patiently. No, in quite the opposite, really.
He's playing like
he's like patient in the sense that he just
the player
does not give a damn. Throws all caution to the wind and just says, "Yeah, I'm gonna blink right on top of your lurkers. What are you gonna do?" Oh, my sockets are dead.
I like that as soon as I was like, "Yo," he's playing like patient. He's like, "Yo, let's go." True. You're on board.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Hero has always kind of been that that kind of crazy and kind of how would I describe it? I don't want how would I describe it? Just like no fear kind of player in a sense. Just like caution to the wind, a rebel without a cause style, but never quite to the same extent as somebody like Patience. But yo, in recent months, in recent weeks, he's been stepping it up in that regard.
He has. Unfortunately not here tonight, but regardless, you know, has definitely kind of left his mark in StarCraft and in the current Korean meta.
And you know what? I feel that because Hero is also kind of that more, shall we say, influential player compared to Patience. I love Patience, but he was never really like on a lot of people's radar. Because Hero's more influential, I feel like he's kind of spreading the word of Patience to other Protoss players, especially Classic here.
True.
We haven't been able to see it from Classic tonight so far. Game number 1 was very patient, not patience, but I have to imagine that we'll be seeing it a little bit from him as the series continues.
I would hope so. I would hope so. As for the time being, it's going to be a standard opener out of Classic, going for a triple Oracle into a third base. Adepts have arrived to harass, poke, and prod, and it's on Rogue to keep up. So far, 3 drones going down, but we are able to maintain ourselves, and we can see back at home, Classic just going for a Twilight Council into a Forge. It's looking like a standard game so far.
Yeah, so far, yeah, pretty good here. Coming up from Classic. Little poke and prod and apply enough pressure onto Rogue that he's not quite able to get to his full economy just yet.
Yeah, so we do split up some Adepts, but they're going to be shut down. One Adept is going to be falling. At the same time, we're just really focusing on clearing up creep. Active tumors are being focused down time and time again, just trying to maintain map control, contain Rogue for as long as possible, and we do have a bit of a gateway explosion behind this. I believe last game we stayed on 4 gateways a little bit longer. This time we're building up towards 6.
Yeah, so very different from what we saw in game number 1 here from Classic. This time I have to imagine that he is in fact going to be going for that blink +1 timing. He does get scouted though, by Rogue.
Is going to be spotted. Big moment here for Rogue. Even though he does lose 5 drones across the map, he does confirm the gateway explosion, is aware that his opponent can be more assertive and more aggressive. As I say that, Temple Archives is going to be thrown down at the natural, so once again, we're teching up.
Okay, another, I don't want to say slow one coming out here from Classic, but another more reserved and more kind of passive play this time.
Yeah, and this could be the beginning of another long one, because as Classic takes his Temple Archives, as he's taking up towards Storm, as we throw down a 4th base, likewise, a fast infestation bit out of Rogue, and this should be to rush into Lurkers.
Well, I say slowly but surely, but we're already on the way. We're already getting there. I don't believe we have a Hydra Den just yet, but we're going to be getting our Hive very, very soon, and we're going to be able to get our Lurker upgrades. Rogue is setting up a drop, but I can't imagine that's his end game here.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, there's the Hive, right? The Hive is on the way, so Rogue is taking up towards Lurker Tech or towards Hive Tech. Now, what I find interesting is that we're going for Dropper Lord Harass. We have Overlord Speed and Drop Lords morphing in, so we're going for a bit of an earlier push here, despite teching up, and I'm curious if we're going to be committing. I'm wondering if we're going for some Drop Lords to harass, or if we're going for, like, a pseudo-German taxi.
Yeah, we shall see. We're seeing a lot of variations on the German taxi. We're kind of seeing the, some variations on that style coming out from players like Solar, who has modified it a little bit to include a little bit of a drop into the main base. Raynor is very fond of that style, dropping into main base with Lings while pushing with Queens and Roaches.
Yeah, speaking of, there it is. We have Lings dropping towards the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Rogue pushes right through the center. The Storm is insane, though. Massive Storm on the Roach Ravager. Lings are caught in the stasis as well, and we are looking to hold the line. Another massive Storm.
Oh my. This is straight up the most perfect defense I've seen in a long time against a play like this. Now, the Drop Lord is still going to go ham in that natural base. I say that, but actually, yeah, very quick reaction, very quick warp in. Classic is able to defend here, only losing 3 probes? Are you kidding me?
And he saved the overcharge until now. He just now popped the overcharge. A little bit unnecessary, but he does hold the line here. 3 probe kills, and Classic does hold, and now Classic is miles ahead. Look at the probe count. Look at the economy here.
My lord, look at the units lost tab. That is absolutely insane. That is as close to a perfect defense against this pseudo-German taxi. What's in between Germany and Italy? Switzerland? A Swiss minivan. Caravan, shall we say. That's as close to a perfect defense as I think you could have gotten.
Yeah, and that was such a weird build out of Rogue because, hey, we have a Hive, right? The Hive did complete, and we're working towards Lurkers and Hive Tech, but we were very all in because of the drone count.
Yeah.
We were on 66 very drones. Committed. Like, yeah, a very low worker count for Rogue, but to still go for the Hive, like, it was very odd to see, and I'm curious how this all plays out. In my opinion, it's looking a little bit dire here for Rogue, but we'll see if it pays off.
He's got a lot of catching up to do, yeah.
Yeah.
And he is trying to catch up as best he can. He did create a massive round of drones. He is getting his Hydras, he's getting his Lurker Den, he's upgrading his Hydras and getting his Hive Tech, but I'm just looking at the standing armies right now, and Classic is looking nigh unstoppable compared to what Rogue has on the map.
And the other scary thing, we will have access to Lurkers, but these are going to be lair tech Lurkers to defend, and we're going to need them. They're going to be necessary to hold, but I'm not sure if we even can. Meanwhile, the Lynx are distracting the main army. They do keep Classic pinned back a little bit longer. Any time that we can buy is crucial here. Lurkers are on the way, 4 of them.
4 of them are about to pop out, but only 4 of them, and more crucially, they are vanilla Lurkers. There's still a lot that Classic can do here with this mass amount of Immortals and High Templar. As long as he's able to keep his High Templar away from Lurker volleys, again, he just has so much momentum on his side. It's very hard to see Rogue pushing this back.
Yeah, we'll see if he can pull off a miracle here. Storm's going to be zoning away, but we have plenty more Storms behind this. Lurkers are massing. We have 6 Lurkers. The Storms are insane. They connect with the Lurkers. They're pushing in.
Yeah, they connect with just about every single Lurker, and GG is called. Classic, after a very long and patient game number 1, takes a very decisive and quick game number 2. GG, very nicely done. Very, very well done here from Classic in game number 2. Just about perfect reactions to that all. To be fair, you were pointing it out. It was a little bit of a weird build coming out from Rogue, but even still, there was a lot of potential for damage to be done. Maybe if not in that initial push, then at least with that drop alert, but Classic only lost 3 probes. That was insane.
Yeah, it was a very odd build. Just to wind it back a little bit for those that are curious as what happened in the kind of finale of game number 2 there. Rogue, he cut works at 66 and he set up for a German taxi for a Roach Ravager Ling Queen all-in. But we were also teching up into an Infestation Bit, into a Hive as well, so that means that resources were spent elsewhere, which means that the all-in was weaker. At the same time, we were all in, so like we were kind of hurting ourselves there, and that I'm sure also led to how Classic was able to hold. I mean, despite that, it was still a very impressive hold, and because of the initial defense, then Rogue fell behind. Sure, he had a Hive, and that was something he was able to fall back on, but we saw that he just didn't have the economy to sustain himself and to keep up.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to that golden rule, right? When you commit, you gotta commit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can't go middle of the road here with these kind of builds, especially at this level of play as well. Clearly, as we can see, Classic will punish you if you don't commit.
Exactly. Smite you.
There you go.
With, just, again, I cannot get over that hold once again. That was probably the perfect stasis that Classic could have gotten, and then just beautiful storms on top of the rest of the entire army, one after the other. Even taking out the drop alert, so no creep could be spread, no transfuse potential was there. And I mean, even still, even if we did have transfuse, I can't imagine Rogue getting too much done with that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
It was impressive. It was impressive. And again, it goes to show like why Classic is one of the best Protoss players in the world. He's top 2 in Korea and one of the best period out there. So yeah, Classic is definitely one to keep an eye on in this tournament, and we'll see if anyone can knock him down. We have some updates. We've been having a lot of results coming in on the bracket.
We do have some updates. We have a couple of results coming in, and I gotta say, I'm surprised that we actually don't have an opponent for Classic yet. But I gotta say, I am pretty surprised that Trap took out Dark 2-0.
Yeah.
And is now facing Nightmare in those quarterfinals. Yo, Trap, he's getting back in form. Dark, of course, who is our most recent GSL champion. He's qualified for the Esports World Cup. Trap, who has only been back for 2-3 months at this point. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
3-4 months? Time. We're not in June, we're in July, but whose idea was it to have July right after June? It just works together.
It's all the same. It's all the same, Bobby. I mean, GG. Trap versus Nightmare is going to be an interesting one. As you mentioned, Trap taking down Dark 2-0 is very impressive. Don't think we really saw that coming. So, I mean, Trap, just like Rogue, has been improving a lot, right? Like, Rogue took down Oliveira today. Trap took down Dark. Clearly, Trap and Rogue are comparable to the other pro players in Korea. We're just waiting for the consistency, right? We're waiting to see if Trap can knock down these big names week after week after week, and really just make a name for himself, or really just reprise his role as one of the best Protoss players in the world. He's definitely on the way, definitely on the road to recovery here, and the next step is going to be Nightmare. Fun fact, this is a rematch. Trap faced off against Nightmare a couple of days ago in KSL.
There we go. What was the result there?
Nightmare took the series. He was looking good.
There we go. Yeah, not too surprising. Nightmare historically has been that PvP ace. In fact, you were talking about Trap getting back on form and coming back to be one of the absolute best Protoss players in the world. You have to remember, during that time, 2019, 2020, 2021, if there was ever a Kryptonite 2 Trap, if there was ever a player who consistently took him out before a finals, it was always Nightmare. Still remember, it was, I want to say 2020 GSL, something like that. Trap made it to the finals once again in Code S. A lot of hype coming behind him. He didn't quite win it, but there was a lot of hype behind him going into Super Tournament. Knocked out in the first round by Nightmare, who is just that PvP ace.
Yeah, he is a PvP sniper, so that could go either way. I would give the edge to Nightmare, but I mean, Trap can definitely redeem himself and get his revenge from the weekend from KSL, so that is possible. That is definitely possible here, as we have nothing but Protoss in the upper semis. Scrolling down, we have some other updates coming in. Creator takes down Rex 2-0, and Creator is waiting in the semifinals for either Lancer or Gumiho, as Lancer brought Scarlet down.
He did, and I do have an update coming up here. That series is still underway, but Lancer is currently up 1-0 against Gumiho. Who has had some impressive TVP lately, so Lancer looks like he is going to rise. I'm definitely rooting for him. I want nothing but PvP from here on out.
You're an animal, Pop. You're an animal. But you're not wrong. It is an ESL PvP Cup, right? It's like, it would not be an ESL Open Cup Asia without non-stop PvPs. It is what we are used to, and it's good to be back. Good to be home. Best of luck to Gumiho to try to stop that from happening. Fun fact, Gumiho is the only non-Protoss in the tournament.
Oh yeah, the only one remaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm shaking my head at all of you other Terran players. Oliveira.
He did his best, Pat.
He did do his best. He was looking pretty impressive. I'm looking at you, players like Bjorn.
Yeah. Bjorn.
And players like Cure.
Cure.
Where are you this week, you know?
Bunny.
Players like Coffee, Bunny.
Yeah, Terran representation here tonight was a little bit lower just because there are some players that were missing. I mean, again, best of luck to Gumiho, as he is the lone non-Protoss representative. Insert that meme here where you have Gumiho surrounded by nothing but Protoss, as he's sitting on that couch. Best of luck.
Oh, that's where you're going. Yeah.
We got an update. Let's go.
We do have an update here. It just came in. Trap has taken his revenge on Nightmare, taking him down 2-1. He's going to move on to the semifinals to face Classic.
There we go. It went all the way to the ace match, but did this time go the way in favor of Trap, so he does get his revenge from KSL a couple of days ago, and the PvP is upon us. Classic versus Trap coming up next.
Here we go. Whew. Non-stop PvP action coming down, and I gotta be honest with you, like, Trap versus Classic is probably a little bit easier to predict compared to Classic Nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, Classic is still kind of the big dog, right? Like, he's still like kind of the one to pay attention to, the one to take it all here tonight. Which is also why it's exciting to see Trap, right? Like, Trap, he took down Dark and Nightmare. Like, these are some really big names that he's already brought down. So, can he do it again? It's going to be telling here if Trap can somehow bring Classic down.
Yeah, we shall see if we can get that trap versus. Who would the underdog be in Lan? Who would we
Lancer.
rather have here? Yeah, Lancer, Gumiho, or Creator.
Yeah, I mean,
I would go for Creator or Lancer just to have that PvP, but not gonna lie, Gumiho. It's always interesting to watch him play.
No, yeah, yeah. I mean, I love watching Gumiho, especially against Protoss. Gumiho is one of the few top Terran players out there that does play mech against Protoss and actually wins with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive what he can do.
Yeah.
So
Whipped it out against Showtime
He
in
did.
Home Story Cup.
He did at he also did that Stars War 11.
He
before
did?
that, yeah. So always making it up whatever he can. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that.
Indeed, we shall. Yeah. A little bit of an interesting rivalry going on there throughout 2024. I mean, kind of a rivalry, just seeing Gumiho and Showtime face off against each other so often. I believe the groups aren't out yet, but both of them did qualify for Esports World Cup, didn't they?
True. So they might face off again, and Showtime might get mech'd again.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I feel like every time they've met so far, Showtime has been getting closer and closer to beating Gumiho. I mean, the first time it was, I think, one-sided on the side of Gumiho. The second time looked like it was going to be one-sided on the side of Showtime, and then Gumiho reverse swept. But we'll see. Maybe if in Esports World Cup, that's the finals, that would be interesting.
Oh yeah,
I kind of want that finals. So.
Yeah, third time's a charm, right? Like, I want to believe that Showtime can bring it to him, especially now that he's had more experience against Gumiho's style as well. So I'm sure he has a better idea of how to approach him mentally, physically as well. But for now, we're going to be embracing that PvP, and again, best of luck to Gumiho. I believe Gumiho is being casted by Chicken Man and yeah, just Chicken Man. I believe Behemoth was actually the one casting Trap earlier.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Can confirm.
Okay.
So keep our eyes peeled for potential updates going that way. For now, we're just going to be allowing our players to conduct their vetoes. I don't blame them at all if either one of them decide to call for a quick little break in between their series.
Yeah,
we weren't really too privy about what went on in Trap versus Nightmare, but that's a PvP that went all the way to the X match. If you're not feeling drained after that, you gotta let me in on some of your secrets.
True. I guess especially because our players are taking a moment, we will also be going on a short break. So you can take this moment to get some snacks, get some water, hydrate your hydras, stretch your roaches, massage your marines, marinate your marauders, and cuddle your carriers. As we'll be back soon after the break.
Yeah, they're big boys, so give them big cuddles.
Big cuddles.
Big. But don't cuddle too hard, so the interceptors pop out.
I see.
back here for our PvP semifinals, best of 3. Hope we were able to make the use of that break. Hope you were able to get some frozen liquid in a tube. Enjoy that as we approach the summer months, or winter months in the south, summer months in the rest of the world. Not the equator, as we don't have months here. But that's a good time to have those frozen tube waters, regardless. Anyway, we are going to be kicking things off for our PvP semifinals now on Alcione. Now we're here in the top right-hand corner of the map, running all the way in. The top right, we have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He is going to be, of course, representing Twisted Minds. No fairy, as that mine, it's an enigma. We have the Chin Toss himself, Classic.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Gen G Esports. It is Trap. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series, one Protoss or the other. It is up to you to decide with your predictions with your Gamba.
Get your Gamba going. It's insane to me how I keep constantly forgetting that Genji is not only Trap's team, but also a thing. Which is weird because they're actually a very highly prolific esports org
apparently
in Korea, but I just keep forgetting it.
Yeah.
Look, they just had no. Yeah, I mean they weren't around at the start of esports.
True.
So I just don't keep forgetting that they exist.
They
had MMA as their coach for a while. Yeah, but that was for Overwatch, so I just forget it.
For me, it's hard to remember that it's not Genesis Gaming. Like when I say Gen G, I think Genesis Gaming. That's just where my brain goes, and I have to stop myself every time.
We used to call Genesis Gaming Gen G, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean there's
until we were served a cease and desist.
True. That's why we got Neo. So it's really cool to see that Trap is, of course, getting support in his on-set team. And now we're entering our openers. It's going to be a double gate opener here out of Trap. Likewise, 2-gate opener out of Classic as well. Trap is the first to expand. And we do see, actually, Trap going for a bit of a greedier opener here. He's moving out with the Adepts, and we'll see if we can slip past these Stalkers.
Yeah, and it's hard to really make predictions here because, Trap is the first player to expand, which usually the first player to expand in PvP is the player that loses.
True.
But he's also the first player to get sentries. And sentries are pretty good, so... Yeah. We can't quite follow the rules at this point.
The math is now different.
But we don't really have the formula,
Yeah. This is like advanced math now. Before it used to be expand into lose, but now expand into lose, but that's countered by the sentry, and now it's complicated. It's complicated.
Yeah. It's hard to really tell. I mean, Classic there to get some decent damage here, taking out the shield battery.
Yeah, shield battery goes down.
Wasted,
solid force fields, so we lock down the Stalkers. We do pick off one of them. Alas, going to be trading out. The Adepts do come back home. We can try to get us around. And with this pseudo surround, it looks like we should be able to barely clean this up.
Yeah, we're going to get 2 Stalkers, but we do end up trading a Sentry, a Stalker, a bunch of probes as well. And there is still this one Stalker of Classic remaining in the mineral line, so even more probe damage being dealt. All in all, it looks like Classic did end up with the better trade.
Yeah, and he had to. Again, Classic had a much later expansion. He instead prioritized Stalker production, and with that, Classic had to get some economic damage done. That is why the economy is actually neck and neck here, because of the faster expansion that Trap had gone for. So we do even things up in the end, and now we're going to be settling into the mid game.
Here we go, obviously. Ooh! Trap trying to dip in and reciprocate that probe damage, but only is able to get 1 probe of Classic. And we are seeing now that Trap, with his earlier expansion, with his head start when it comes to his economy, was the player to get his Twilight Council a little bit earlier, so he is getting Blink much quicker. Robe of Facility, on the other hand, still a ways off compared to Classic, who is going to get it at around the same time. Around the same time as his Twilight Council, I should say.
Yeah, the Robo's already done for Classic. Traps is still on the way. The armies are moving out. Now, Trap will have Blink earlier, that is true, but it is not done yet. Shield Battery not done either. Classic, he's going to try and slice up this army. Force Fields are so crucial, so impactful this early on because of the lack of Blink.
Yeah, and so Classic, he knows that he doesn't really want to tangle with that without Blink, so he's going to back away for now. He's content with the amount of pressure he's been able to deal, and how he's been able to kind of contain Trap on these two bases, while he works on a third expansion of his own. Third nexus of his own.
Yeah, as Classic was posturing, he expanded. He just took his third base while he had map control, and that means that Trap's third is that much later. Hallucination will confirm the timing of the third, so Trap is fully aware of the greed of Classic, and we'll see if we can try to punish that greed as Trap is setting up for with Adepts towards the left-hand side, likewise the main army towards the right. Ideally, Trap wants to distract Classic, and while he does, he slips in with the Adepts.
Yeah, that's going to be the ideal here for Trap. I mean, he can't quite catch back up, but when it comes to the macro and when it comes to the economy, so ideally he's going to be looking to punish Classic.
And we'll see if he can. For now, has yet to pull the trigger, has his units in position, but still just lying in wait and just going for a Hallucination Scout. With this scout, going to confirm the lower gateway counts, the Forge +1 on the way, just making sure that Classic is indeed macroing up.
Yeah, both players keeping each other honest with their scouting, and this is a deviation I was not quite expecting. Classic opting for Glaives instead of Charge.
This has been very trendy as of late in PvP. We've seen a lot of Immortal Adept all-ins. We've seen a lot of this on 2 bases, but this is going to be on 3 bases instead. Here comes the Gateway Explosion, and Glaive Adepts, they don't scale amazingly into a longer game, but they do a great job at buffering for the initial Immortals, just being kind of a buffer zone or just being there to protect them, and likewise it can even help outmaneuver the defending player by shading into a mineral line and shading past an army.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential to be a little trickier with this style. Eventually you do end up teching towards Charge and towards Archons anyway, but yeah, like you said, there's this little window here where both players are going to be pretty passive. Both players could be working towards building up their tech, that you can just slip in these Adepts and get a whole lot of economic damage.
And we'll see how hard Classic does hit. Looking at the army sizes, Classic does have the Immortal advantage. He has 3 Immortals compared to the 2, or soon to be 2, of Trap. Likewise, Gateways are finishing up and Adepts are warping in. Hallucination gets eyes on the natural. I don't think we've seen the third base yet, as that's a lot of Adepts.
Quite a lot of Adepts, yeah. Trap doesn't really have eyes on the army, nor the gold base. And Classic's gonna look to keep it that way. He is moving forward with his Stalkers, kind of keeping his Adepts in the back line. He does not want Trap to know just what exactly he has in store.
Exactly, Trap is still a little bit in the dark. Trap has not seen the Adepts, has not seen the has not seen the gold base. And here we go, the army is moving out. Classic does have the supply lead, and we dive on top of the Archons!
Yeah, none of them gonna go down. Very quick pullback there from Trap.
Does pull away, but the force fields they catch an Immortal. 1 Immortal goes down. Massive pickoff already. And Classic, he rotates over towards the 4th base. Massive warping and Stalkers as well. And this base, we force a cancel.
Just like so. Classic, he's already got the upper hand here, but we'll see if he is pretty content with that for the time being. Adept's gonna threaten the shade, just to keep this army back and kind of make Trap think twice about going for a counterattack.
Yeah, and he does.
Classic, he's just running away with this army.
Yeah, Classic, he's rotating around. He's got the gold base. He can hit towards the 4th once again. Adepts, they do not commit to shade. Likewise, they don't commit yet. Zealots do get across the map, though.
And we don't really have any reinforcements back home. So Classic's just going for it.
Yeah, he does commit. The first Archon does fall. Trap down to 2 Archons. The concave in favor of Classic. He pulls away. He's laying siege upon it. That natural base. Classic is just going to be looking to overwhelm this.
Yeah, not overextending. I can definitely appreciate this from Classic. Almost losing the War Prism. He has to be so careful with it. That's where all of his sustain his sustained power is going to be.
Oh, the Stalker's coming in from behind as well. That Prism is so vulnerable, is so low. Alas, it does siege up. The Warpin is on the way, and Trap unable to close the distance, unable to get on top of it. Up.
Yeah, the supply don't lie. Oh, the War Prism does go down, but again, we just have so much more army here for Classic than Trap. Better upgraded army as well. GG is called. Classic gonna be taking a pretty decisive game number 1.
GG, well played. Cheeky moves there out of Classic, rushing into Glaive Adepts, rushing into the goal base, getting a faster third as well, and with the superior army that led into the with the superior economy that led into the larger army for Classic. Unfortunately, Trap was a little bit in the dark as to what was going on, and he wasn't really able to stifle Classic. Was trying to be active, but yeah, didn't really get much damage done across the map, and was denied a lot of vision as well.
That he was. Yeah, glad to see that even though we are having two players who are kind of known for having, shall we say, honorable reputations, players who are known for more of their macro play, we can still see a couple of tricks get thrown in every now and then.
Yeah, exactly, as Classic was able to be so fast and so decisive with his moves as well, and we'll see if a Trap can bounce back. I'm hoping for an ace match, I'm hoping for a back and forth series here, but we'll see how we do embrace this as we're getting ready for game number 2.
Indeed, we are. I mean, ordinarily I would say that I would expect a full series coming out here, but after game number 1, I do feel like Trap has to really switch things up here, which I'm sure he can. He has the capability of. He's proven that in the past, but we'll see if tonight specifically Trap is able to bring out that variety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see if he can mix it up here, if he can fight back. I mean, again, I'm hoping for an ace match, but the pressure is now on, and we're going to be loading into a very interesting map, especially for a PvP. We are going to be loading into Amphion.
Yeah, I almost said Amphione, but I'm seeing Phantom E's at the end of words now. I blame France and the Olympics.
I see. Have you been keeping up with your Duolingo?
I have. I haven't been doing French though, so I feel like that's subconsciously like guilting me. You're like, hey, do French.
No, not at all. You don't need to learn it. It's fine.
But speaking of fine, we are now on Amphion, no E, but we do have an LE. LE, of course, standing for ladder envelope. No, I'm not going to elaborate on that. We have here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left, we have our blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. He's, of course, going to be representing Twisted Minds, no fairy. We have Classic.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing Gen G Esports. It is Trap. And as we're loading into Amphion, what does that mean? That means a gate expands. We have a ramp leading into the natural, so just like Site Delta, it leads into more economic openers. It's a little bit earlier to call, but this could be the beginnings of Phoenix Wars. More often than not, a lot of the Korean players do try to pull away from Phoenix Wars, and they try to deviate and head into Blink Stalkers. So I'm curious if either Trap or Classic try to do that and get away from the Phoenix production.
I'm curious as well if we're going to be seeing a deviation from that, but I am definitely hoping that we see it regardless.
You're hoping to see deviation or Phoenix Wars? What are you hoping for?
Phoenix Wars, yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious if we'll see a deviation.
Okay.
I want to see Phoenix Wars.
You're an animal.
As I think we all do.
Well, it's double gas here from Classic, single gas from Trap. What does that mean? That means Trap is trying to go for a faster expansion. There we go. The Nexus has been thrown down. With the double gas, Classic should be going for a faster tech structure in that Stargate. But Trap is a little bit greedier here. There's a Stargate opener from Classic. Trap going for the faster Nexus.
Indeed. This one Zealot from Trap gonna make its way across the map to try to get something done.
Zelda is waddling across the map. Meanwhile, we do see shield batteries on the way. Classic, the pylon did finish, and we're looking to try to lay siege upon the natural.
All right, let's see if it works. I mean, a Zealot versus a Stalker should go in favor of the Zealot, but we got a couple of probes to support to buffer as well. Shield battery's not done just yet. Can it survive long enough to make use of the shield battery? And Dep shows up, is able to take out a couple of probes, but can it actually fight toe-to-toe with the Stalkers?
I mean, that's 2 probes going down. That's 2 more probes out on the map as well, not mining. So that's pretty good economic damage. Meanwhile, the backup shield battery has completed. Trap, he can maintain himself. He can hold his own. He is down a shield battery, but we're running out of energy here for Classic, and he will actually shade into the main.
Yeah, well, he'll get even more probe damage. We don't have Game Heart, unfortunately, but looking at units last tab, you have 4 probes go down. And like you said, we also have those 2 other probes in the middle of the map not doing anything. And we still have this Adept alive to threaten the mineral line. This is a fantastic start here from Classic. I mean, it's an expensive start, don't get us wrong. Getting this pylon and these 2 shield batteries and all that, but he's getting his money's worth.
Yeah, and here we go, 2 Adepts into the main. Oracle's on the way. It was an Oracle opener, not a Phoenix. Again, because of the lack of Phoenix Wars, Oracles are on the way to harass to get economic damage done, and they have arrived. More probes are going down.
Yeah, shield battery here should be able to just barely keep one of those probes alive, but yeah, this is starting to get out of hand. 10 probes go down. Trap, thankfully, with the much quicker second Nexus, is able to rebuild, so we can actually see that the worker counts are somewhat even, but Classic behind all of this is getting a third, and he's gonna explode economically.
Yeah, well, that's his natural. He was forced to take the...
my mistake, never mind, yeah.
Yeah, he was forced to take the unnatural. Natural, Classic does have a worker lead and has 2 Oracles. That's 2 Oracles here outside of the main base. Meanwhile, Classic even investing into a Void Ray.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to keep him alive. It's going to allow him to maintain this third, ideally. Which, honestly, right now, that's what the Oracles are doing. They are still getting a lot of probe damage. That's 17 probes going down. That's more than a mineral line.
That is
being
over
taken out in this game.
That is over a mineral line with the workers. That's an insane amount of damage. 17 probe kills, and Classic, he's even going further from here. We have Twilight Council on the way for Blink, similarly timed here to Trap. So Trap does not have a tech advantage. Trap, he's in a really rough place here, and we're not done. Here comes the Void Ray.
Yeah, that can definitely buffer a lot of hits. That can definitely help against the Stalkers as well. Good lord. Yeah,
we activate
Stalker's also broken up.
We activate the prismatic alignment. First Stalker goes down. We do trade with the Oracle, though. We're going to barely get the second. No, the second Stalker does go down.
And so does the Void Ray. So with that, Trap is feeling unhindered. He's feeling very safe. He's not going to go for a full-on counterattack, but he is fanning out these handful of Stalkers to try to catch this. Yep, try to catch this Oracle.
Oh my god. Yeah, very nice positioning here. Meanwhile, we're behind. So what do we do when behind a Dark Shrine? The Dark Shrine is on the way for Trap. Bold move here by the Red Brodos player. And back at home, Classic, I believe, has no robot. There is a way to get detection with Oracles. That is true. We will have access to Revelations, but that is not the most consistent form of detection.
That it is not. That is not. We do still have that one Oracle from earlier on, so hopefully Classic can keep it alive to deal with the DTs, but we shall see.
Yeah, our eyes are definitely on the Oracle stasis traps on the way. That means how much less energy to work with. Bear that in mind. Likewise, Classic setting up a proxy across the map. Blink is about to finish. Classic will have a Blink timing. Now, if Classic is aggressive, if he is assertive, then he might be able to get an eye on the DTs ahead of time. That is possible, but Trap is setting up for a proxy.
Proxy v proxy. Proxy wars coming up here. Probe. I was worried the probe was going to reveal itself.
We do actually.
Oh no.
Yeah, we checked the third base. We get eyes on the saturation. That's what we were looking for. And we didn't throw down a pylon, so there is no way to reinforce across the map. And Classic, he's looking, just in case, as he saw the probe.
Yeah, skirting around with this Oracle. Yeah, ideally keeps the Oracle busy, out of base, to allow for these DTs to really hit. Classic going full forward with his entire army. It's possible that we'll see a base trade.
We could see one if we had any DTs. The Dark Shrine is done, but no Dark Templar warped in. And here we go. We are pushing out. Okay, we have one DT at home to defend. The Oracle is under fire. We have to be very careful with it as the armies do pass by each other.
Once again, Stasis Warp being thrown out because Classic just doesn't suspect a thing. Now
Yeah.
the DT kind of reveals it can, but there's no detection here, no energy.
Yeah, but only one Dark Templar. Gateways are being depowered. Dive on the army. Massive stasis here on the army of Trap. Trap, he barely has anything to work with. He has the one DT, but how much damage can we get done before the DT cleans up these Stalkers?
A whole freaking lot is what I'm going to say, especially with this Oracle surviving and regaining its energy. We have a revelation, and DT across the map is going to be completely clearing out Classic's mineral lines.
Yeah, probes are going down. We get the revelation, but we missed! We didn't get the... Oh, there we go. Second revelation gets one of the DTs, but not the other. Only one Dark Templar going to be going down. We do get a lot of damage done with depowering everything in the main.
Yeah, you gotta appreciate how well Trap's really been able to split up his DTs right now. Make sure that none of them get caught in a single revelation.
Yeah, and everything gets sent across the map. We're going for the Immortal. The Immortal is focused down. 2 volleys is all it takes, and a Classic will clean this up. Meanwhile, we are banking up energy here for another revelation. But alas, it's still only the one Oracle for Classic.
Yeah, I believe the Stargates across the map did get depowered, and anyway, we don't have enough gas to get a second Oracle.
Yeah,
We do throw down a revelation, but once again, it misses the DTs.
Yeah, we were a little bit too cavalier, a little bit too antsy with that revelation. DTs are rolling forward. At the same time, we ignore the DTs. We go straight for the middle line. Probes are still going down.
How much damage can be dealt here as, yeah, these Stalkers are starting to get lower and lower in health, but here we go, another revelation. One more DT goes down. Another DT managed to survive, however. We have 3 DTs out in the map, and they are very, very well split up.
Exactly. Trap just ensuring that the DTs, they stay spread out as long as they can. The Robo's going to fall. Again, there's no economy left here for Trap. Trap going for the Ninja base, going for the hybrid.
Yeah, definitely a good call here for Trap. Can these DTs win him the game? I want to believe.
It's close. We get 1.
And now there are 2. And then there were 2.
And then there were 2. We have 1 DT here in the main base. We have 1 DT across the map, sniping buildings. Bearing in mind, the Classic did have a proxy set up as well, so we're going for the full-on elimination here. DTs are getting a lot done, but at the same time, we will eventually kill them. Like, we're going to have another revelation soon.
Yeah, no anti-air, so this Oracle is pretty much completely unhindered.
Yeah. Classic, he's on the hunt. He's chasing down the Dark Templar. We get the revelation, and now we're down to 1 singular DT. And this DT, it's got a lot of work to do. The probes, they scout.
Base is under attack.
They know, they're aware. They were planning to get that base, actually. Classic was planning to actually throw down a Nexus over there. But, yeah, once he got there, he kind of had to do the Spider-Man meme. It's like, wait a minute. You're taking this base?
Yeah, and here we go. The army does rotate over. Meanwhile, when it comes to the units that we are working with, we have the 1 Prism. So I guess we can juggle, but there it is. GG gets called. We find the base, and a Trap will tap out. Classic takes the series.
GG, nicely done here from both of our players. Trap with those instincts once he realized how far behind he was, what his win condition was with those DTs. Unfortunately, not quite able to pull it off in the end there, but yeah, still a nice little reaction. Classic, on the other hand, very decisive play, very decisive and very, I don't want to say cavalier, but very brazen play. In fact, here's the question I have, Light. With that double battery opening, is it fair to say that Classic has now embraced full hero?
At least in PvP, right? Like at least in PvP, because we saw a very different Classic in the against Rogue, right? In the PvZs, but yeah, the PvPs were very chaotic, right? With the gold bases, with the Glaver Depths, with the initial shield battery aggression as well. Like, it was a wild series from Classic, and yeah, he does take it. He does assert his dominance.
Indeed, he does. You know, Trap, he has come back. He is improving rapidly throughout these past couple of months, but Classic, that chin still stands strong. still a pretty tough mountain to climb.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is still a tough mountain to climb. I mean, the Protoss players in Korea are quite terrifying in their own ways, so it's not easy to really fight back against them. But again, Trap to bring down Nightmare is already a big win for him, and I look forward to seeing more of Trap in the coming weeks. He has been improving week after week, time and time again, so I don't expect that rate of improvement to really slow down anytime soon. Meanwhile, we have some updates. Oh my god!
We do have some updates here. We have a confirmed PvP finals as Lancer has taken out Gumiho 2-0, is now facing Creator in the bottom semifinals.
2-0?
2-0. Not even Showtime could do that.
Oh my god. Not even Showtime, Papi. Lancer. That is crazy. 2-0 over Gumiho. With that, we were joking earlier, but welcome, everyone. Welcome to ESL Open Cup Protoss Edition, as we have purely Protoss left in the tournament. Gumiho was the non-Protoss hope, but there's only so much he could do against the sea of Protoss ahead of him. That's a big win for Lancer.
Absolutely huge. Yeah, GG. Very nicely done here. Definitely got a lot to keep our eyes on when it comes to Lancer in the upcoming weeks, and potentially as well in this tournament specifically. I did just check on Chicken Man's channel, and they are currently in game number 2. So there's potential here. Creator is up 1, so if Creator wins that, then we're gonna be jumping into our PvP finals. If Lancer wins that, we're going to be jumping into our PvP semifinals.
Exactly.
And then into our PvP finals.
There we go. There we go. Regardless, PvP is ahead of us, and you got what you wanted, Yaku. You got what you wanted.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We had to sacrifice Hero for it, but here you go.
Yeah, to sacrifice.
This is what happens,
to Blizzard here to allow this to happen. And it looks like we have an update.
Here we go. It looks like Creator did just take out Lancer 2-0. Very nicely done here from Creator. And yeah, we're going to be setting up for our PvP Grand Finals.
Okay, so...
Yeah, and I was just going to say, very impressive results coming out here from Lancer. But, we also probably shouldn't write off Creator either. He has been improving a ton as well these past couple of weeks, making it all the way to the semifinals of GSL Code S, where unfortunately he had to face Maru, so naturally he ended up getting taken out, but even still, that was a very impressive result. He actually dominated his... I guess dominate isn't the most descriptive word, but he did make it out of his round of 8 group at the top, against players like Hero and Dark, no less, so... Yeah, very impressive stuff coming out from Creator. It's a bit of a shame that we're not going to be seeing him in the Esports World Cup this year. But like you mentioned, there are still plenty more tournaments. After EWC that we can look forward to. Oh
yeah, exactly. We're going to be featuring plenty of them, and again, it's a big win for Lancer. I mean, sure, Lancer got taken out by Creator, but what a run, what a performance. Lancer, he took down Gumiho, took down Scarlets, like very, very nice results here from Lancer. There's a reason why we praise Lancer. We talk about, the Chinese triad of Protoss with Firefly, Lancer, and Jeshi, and they are all beasts in their own right. They're all titans here in the now overall tournament scene, so... Yeah, really impressive stuff. But a shout out to Creator, as you mentioned, he is a top player in Korea, made it to the top 4 of GSL, and will pose a threat to Classic.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, taking a look at the brackets here, Creator didn't quite face as much PvP, but he did take out Firefly 2-0, a player who we normally expect to be able to clutch out at least one victory against a 3. He is just that very clutch player no matter the matchup, so Creator taking him out 2-0 is a very impressive result. Classic, on the other hand, did face Trap, who just took out Nightmare, who is known for being the PvP ace, so yeah, we'll see who is, I guess, more informed tonight specifically. And we'll also see I know that creator's not really a hero, but we'll see if the same like flip switches, the same instinct gets triggered here in Classic's mind when he realizes who he's up against.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see kind of who becomes the aggressor, who becomes the defender. We'll see what kind of PvP we decide to embrace here between these two players. As you mentioned, the grand finals is now upon us. It's going to be a best of 5, and vetoes are currently underway.
They are. Let me figure out which maps we're going to be playing on. Predictions will also be available when we get into our grand finals. You can get your gamba going.
Yeah.
Narration, yeah.
The gamba will soon be going. For now, it looks like we might be going on a short break, though. It looks like players might need a moment. Likewise, other casters need a moment as well. So we're going to be taking a moment here to step away. This is a good opportunity, though, to get some snacks, get some water, get some food, get ready for the grand finals.
Yeah, stretch your roaches, hydrate your hydras, drain your disruptors, cuddle your carriers, leave your lurkers, lick your lurkers, move your marauders, banish your banshees.
What are you doing? You're doing to your units, Papi? You're moving the marauders? Are they being evicted? They're being evicted out of their house? Oh no! Don't lick your lunkers.
We had the agreement. Yeah.
I feel like lunkers are
Blow
like
up your
those,
veins.
like the Amazonian frogs that like make you hallucinate. If you lick them.
Yeah.
God. Not like this. Not like this. We need to come up with something for
Every unit. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do to a ghost?
Get. Get your ghost.
You just say the first word that came to your brain that started with a G. You were so quick with that as well. You're like, you get him, obviously. Just get your ghost.
Yeah, you get your ghost.
Get him.
They're pretty good.
Oh god. I see.
Groom. Your ghosts.
Groom your
Maybe
ghosts.
you brush the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you brush the hair. Do ghosts have hair? They always have their helmet on, no matter the skin.
I mean, you've got Nova.
Nova had hair.
Yeah, Nova had hair.
Yeah, Nova had hair.
Pretty sure
Yeah,
she
yeah.
had hair. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
What do you do to your SCVs?
Work came to my mind, but I don't think that's safe for work. I don't think that one's safe for work.
Word
no.
came to my mind as well, Papi. Oh no.
Sync, maybe.
Okay.
No,
What?
sync doesn't really make sense.
Oh, okay. Get does though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta get your ghosts.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Alright, here we go. We're getting into our grand finals here.
Your SCVs? Shine.
Shine your
Yeah.
SCVs.
Shine your SCVs.
There you go. Did you say
There you
shuck earlier?
Yeah. Shuck. Like a corn. Like a corn. You shuck a
I
corn.
was gonna say you
Us,
like
you know?
like you shuck like like a or like
yeah,
a
like
clam
you shuck a corn.
or
Yeah, or a clam. You get the armor out, you know?
There you go. Okay, we're settling into our grand finals, and what does that mean? That means if you are in the chat, predictions will soon be open. I say soon. I'm not opening them up yet, just because we might actually have a lag out. Usually, if the loading screen takes a little bit too long,
I'm glad it's not just me. Yeah.
it means that someone
I
may
was
have
worried
timed
for a
out.
sec. Yeah.
Basically, but when we load in, we're gonna see a name. The name has left.
And then we can shame them.
Oh
No, don't shame them. It's not their fault, you know.
Not at all. It's Emil's fault.
Exactly.
There you go.
The Polish monster, as some people call him.
What do you do to your drones?
Dig
Dig?
or dine, maybe.
Dine your drones?
Dig your
I was gonna say
drones.
dunk.
Yeah,
like
you take them
dunk
out
your
to dinner.
drones.
Dunk your drones. That makes some more sense for disruptors, I think.
Oh, you could dunk your
Is there like
disruptors.
balls? You could dunk your disruptors, but dunk your drones. Yeah, you dunk them, you lick them,
Mm-hmm.
you
Twist them.
twist them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Oreos.
Good. Twist your Templar.
Yeah, there we go.
These-
Tune your Tempest.
Uh-huh. God
Yeah.
damn.
Pick
Uh-huh.
your probes.
No, we pat our probes. We pat them.
Pad our probes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wholesome. Wholesome.
Wholesome. Free your fire bats or free your I don't know why I'm thinking fire bats.
That's Brood War.
That's Root War, yeah. It's Hellions and Hellbats. Help your Hellbats.
Uh-huh. Sure. Hey, who was it?
Heal your Hellions. Oh, what? No name. Got a tie.
There we go.
Both of them timed out.
Hopefully the Korean internet is able to stay with us for now. Stay with us as we're all jumping back in.
Yep. We have Lubg.
Love G.
That's classic. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe.
2012 Battle.net World Championship. Damn, yo, we got some
Yeah.
old school viewers in the chat. Let's go.
Old school, yeah. It's crazy to think about, but this was before WCS, so technically he was never world champion, but Parting did win that kind of that kind of beta version of the world championship, if you will. Although we had IEM at the time, which was kind of the world championship, so
Yeah,
it was like the prototype or the beta version of WCS, but yeah, well, luck.
yeah. I didn't watch much Wings of Liberty actually. Like when it comes to Wings of Liberty,
I didn't know it existed.
when it comes to Wings of Liberty, I only ever watched like YouTubers like Husky or HD, but like I never watched anything live. So I watched like VOD, like replay content essentially. Because back then, people like Husky or HD or Total Biscuit, they would like cast replays basically of matches.
I remember back then it was like strategy games. That's for nerds. I very clearly am not a nerd. It's only much later that I come around.
You accepted who you are.
I'm not really a nerd. I'm still not a nerd.
You're like, I haven't accepted it yet. Okay.
I'm still not a nerd. No. I'm still not a nerd.
Okay. Okay.
Nerds are smart.
Take it away.
As we kick off our PvP Best of 5 Grand Finals here on Site Delta, where we're here in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right. We, of course, have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. We, of course, have spawning here in the bottom right. He is going to be representing Blacklist International. We have Creator.
Should just Google his team. Were you trying to remember what his team name was?
No, I had to double check because I was like, it's Blacklist, right? It's Team
Yeah.
Blacklist or something like that. But I was like, wait, but that's a weird name. Let me double check. And I'm like, yeah, I remembered it.
Okay.
I just wasn't sure of what I remembered.
Okay. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is a classic. And we're entering Side Delta, a very similar dynamic. We just casted a PvP on Amphion, and similar thing where there's a ramp coming into the natural, which means that our players are prone to going for more economic builds. This time though, both Creator and Classic have taken their gases. Creator's gas was a little bit later, but gas nonetheless, so it looks like we should be going for tech first before expanding.
Yeah, looks that way. As, yeah, so far, very similar stuff coming out from both of our players.
Yep, there we go. We do have our Stargate opener out of Classic. Meanwhile, we should be seeing a Stargate out of Creator as well. Again, the probe is doing a great job of just delaying the expansion, forcing out the Zealot. Pylon has been thrown down, and a Creator, again, his gas was taken later here, so he has to wait a little bit longer before he does throw down his own tech structure. That does give Classic quite a lead here when it comes to his Stargate timing.
Yeah, ordinarily, if we're seeing an earlier Stargate from one player, we will be seeing an earlier Nexus from their opponent, but it's not quite the case here for Creator. He's actually getting his Nexus after Classic got his, as well as the Stargate, so clock's really ticking right now for Creator. He needs to throw down some kind of tech structure.
Yeah, again, like Creator's gases were later. Because of that, his opener was a little bit disrupted, and this tells me that Classic has an on-par base timing with his opponent, and Classic also has a tech advantage as well. So, yeah, it's on Creator here to keep up and to minimize his losses, as Oracles are soon going to be upon him.
Yeah. We're gonna need more. We're gonna need more Stalkers in the mix. Maybe a couple of Sentries as well, which I'm pleased to see that Creator is not neglecting. Twilight Council going to be the tech structure of choice here from Creator. This does make sense. He did scout the Star Gate being much quicker than his, so I have to imagine Creators right now thinking, okay, you're going to have that advantage, and it's going to be very difficult for me to catch back up, so I'm going to tech elsewhere. I'm going to get this Twilight Council, and I imagine also a Robo Facility pretty soon.
I imagine so. So far, we get 2 probe kills. The Oracle does manage to get away, bearing in mind that we have a second Oracle on the way as well. So 2 Oracles do one-shot probes, and they will be joining forces, poised to dive into the main base. Creator trying to keep up, does thankfully have a shield battery in position, has Stalkers as well. We are ready for the aggression. We'll see if Classic can get more damage done, and more importantly, we'll see if we can preserve those Oracles. Oh.
Yeah, we do have 2 Oracles now, so that's... Ooh. I was going to say enough to dip in and dip out and start one-shotting these probes. So the Oracles will fall, though. And the second one will survive, but takes a lot of hull damage.
Yeah,
Even still, 3 workers this early on, that's pretty good.
It's not bad. If only we didn't lose the Oracle, though. So solid defense here from Creator. Likewise, working towards Blink. Both players are. Classic going for additional gateways. Classic being set up on 3 gates, but it looks like he's in position and poised to expand.
Just like so. Around the same time as Creator is expanding, so yeah, pretty similar timings coming out from both of them. I was expecting Creator to get an earlier Robo Facility, but it's not really on the way either. In fact, Classic was able to get his own Twilight Council, and so Blink is going to be about even here.
Yeah, pretty similarly timed Blink here between our players. Hallucination will get eyes on the 3rd base. Again, pretty similarly timed as well. As we settle into this, Classic does maintain a slight economic advantage because of his Oracle Harass, and it's really on Creator to catch up and to try to recover here. And we'll see how we deviate, and we'll see how Creator does come about this. For the time being, everything's looking pretty mirrored, but that is a Forge on the way for Creator, and Classic has yet to really invest into his own.
Yeah, so relying a lot on just his Oracle, his Stalkers right now. But we're about to see things start to even out pretty quickly.
They are evening up, but thanks to the Forge, it does mean that a Creator is going to have that upgrade advantage and a bit of a window of timing where he has +1 and Classic does not. Classic just now halfway through his own Forge, so there is that window available. Outside of that, no other big deviations here. Creator also the first to take up in towards Charge. We'll see if Classic does the same, or if he decides to pull away and work towards something crazy like Lave Adepts again.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that in mind. I was kind of half expecting Creator just to tech into a Robo Bay after all of this. It's just something he's kind of known for, but I guess it's more of his PvZ style as opposed to PvP. And since we are in a fresh series, I guess we might as well just yeah, play standard, test the waters, and get a sense of what you're up against.
Yeah, I mean, if the game goes on long enough, I'm sure we will see disruptors and some disruptor on disruptor action, but for now, we're just kind of working towards our gateway compositions. Classic does move out across the map in position to delay the expansion. That's a kill on the probe and a cancel on the pylon. Outside of that, the armies are still quite comparable, and the creator, he will hold on to the third at least.
Yeah, there's no easy way for Classic to really push into this,
Nope.
and so Classic, content with the damage he's dealt so far, will back away. Glaives is on being researched, not charge. So Classic, once again, going to be embracing the Angry Librarian style.
There you go. He's ready to throw books at Creator, and again, it is a much more aggressive style here out of Classic. He's soon to be in the face of his opponent. What I do like from Creator is that we do have the Templar Archive, so we will have access to Archons, but as we saw previously with Trap, a handful of Archons is not going to be enough here. We do need more support for the army. You do need to be in position as well. We'll see how Classic does engage. Likewise, we'll see how greedy or economic Creator is, as Creator is expanding.
Like so. Yeah, he's unhindered, he's unchained, and now he has this freedom, this map control, to get a little bit greedy himself. It's still going to be worrisome, as of course Classic is going to be looking to hit very, very soon. +1 about to finish up for him, and that is pretty much the trigger to start moving across the map.
Yeah, exactly. We're just waiting for our reinforcements. War Prism's on the way. That's to reinforce on the front lines. Classic is moving out at the same time. Adepts, they do actually shade in towards our natural.
Yeah, not revealing their hand yet. Classic is kind of hoping that these Adepts will die before they reveal.
Yeah. Again, Glaive's just now finished, and our last Adept is going to be shut down. And here we go. The main army is pushing through. Creator going to be able to slow it down. Does pick away at the army. Does get some hull damage on some of these units. Getting a Stalker.
Yeah, he gets a couple Stalkers. Is trying to take out the sentries, but Classic does have it very, very well. I wouldn't say hidden, but very secure in the middle of that army.
Yeah, he's going to be secure in the back line. At the same time, main army is going to be clashing with each other. Adepts, they threaten to shade towards the third base. Meanwhile, we commit.
Yeah, we do commit, and I do think that Creator has a slightly better army, but a lot of his heavy hitters are behind force fields. We had so many Immortals for Creator here, just not in the main fight.
Yeah, they were stuck in the back line. Overcharge runs out. The concave is real, and Classic is collapsing on the main army. He is slowly breaking through the shades, past the army even as well, and Creator, he just doesn't have enough.
Yeah, that supply ain't lying. Adepts finish a shade to commit to the sandwich. Warp Prism goes down, so there's no more micro potential. GG is called, and Classic could be taking a game number 1. Another game where nobody quite expects the Glaive Adepts
Yeah,
in
GG.
PvP.
GG, well played. As I mentioned in the previous years, it's been quite trendy to go for these Glaive Adepts, and it's so much more aggressive, so much more committed to go into this. Even though Creator, he was working on a 4th base, working on upgrades, these are all resources being spent elsewhere, not on his main army. Likewise, when it came to the engagement, as you pointed out, we saw that Creator had a really hard time actually allowing his entire army to take part. Like, a lot of the Immortals were stuck in the back line, and there was a lot of wasted DPS there for Creator.
Yeah, those sentries were without a doubt the MVP in that engagement. Those handful of force fields that just kept forcing the body blocking back. The Archon was never really able to break up the force fields. The Immortals just weren't doing anything. Creator was keeping up very, very well until Battery Overcharge ran out. And so you can imagine how much better that defense would have been if those Immortals were in the fray, if those Archons were getting their volleys off.
Yeah, exactly.
How much different the outcome would have been.
Yeah, and it's that much more unforgiving in a mirror matchup as well. Like, as you've been pointing out, you know, especially when it comes to these big earlier supply disparities, the soup does often lie, especially in other matchups. But in a mirror matchup, it's difficult to really overcome that kind of deficit without something like disruptors or like DTs. Like, you need some kind of like crazy tech
Or
switch
mules.
to make that work. True.
Regardless, here we are, going to be continuing our series now onto Ghost River. We're here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way. In the top left, we of course have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing his new team, Blacklist International. We have Creator.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player. The red Protoss representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. It is Classic.
Manage your mules, perhaps, or massage maneuver? Maneuver your mules?
You massage the Marines.
You know. You massage the Marines, yeah.
Yeah, you marinate the Marauders.
And you maneuver the Marauders. You marinate the Marauders, yeah. You manage the mules? Maneuver the mules? What do we do with mules? I feel like it needs to stick with the theme, right? Of you massage the Marines to get them tender.
Yeah.
You marinate the Marauders so they absorb flavor. We gotta do something similar in that vein for mules.
How do you cook? Is there like a cooking method that starts with an N?
Milk? No.
Excuse me? That's what you. You're not cooking
Mince?
something when you're milking something. What are you talking about?
Mince?
What are you saying?
Mince?
Mince? Yeah, mince your mules. Okay,
Mince your
okay.
mules?
I can get behind that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't milk your mules. Oh no. Not like this.
I was just thinking kitchen. What's in the kitchen? That starts with M. Milk. There we go.
Oh no.
No, but mince your mules. Yeah. I think a lot of us could probably get down with that. Not me though. I like my mules whole.
Okay. You like the milk
personally, but yeah, I like them milked and I like them whole.
Okay.
I like them whole milked.
Okay.
Some people like them minced though. Yeah.
As for now, the Souls do engage with each other, and I believe Creator does get the extra hit off, so nice little win there for Creator. Getting some extra hull damage, we both trade 1 for 1, and behind this we are expanding. No big committed 1-base plays for the time being, but we are taking in different directions. Up!
As once again, just we trading stalkers to stalkers here and there. Creator with the slight map control advantage, or rather with the slight hull damage advantage. We'll be taking a bit more map control, but it's still the early game, it's still gateway units in low numbers, so you can't really do much with this quote-unquote map control.
Yeah, if you can get 1 or 2 extra, basically 1 extra Stalker kill, then that can very quickly snowball into a win, but it's been even trades. You know, we've been trading very evenly here between Classic and Creator, no big advantage in either direction. We do see Creator going for a very fast Immortal very early on, so it looks like Creator does want to be hyper-aggressive here. You often would not rush into this Immortal this early on for another reason. I mean, it should just be for aggression.
Yeah. And we'll see if Classic's going to be able to get eyes on this. I don't believe he has.
Yeah, the scout was denied. Classic is in the dark. He's getting to his own Immortal production, but again, Creator, his first Immortal's already out. Prism's on the way to move out across the map as well. Classic, though, reading this well. Again, going for a safety Immortal. It will be out in time for the fight.
It will. It won't really be as maneuverable or microable or minceable, but it would, since Creator will have that Warp Prism advantage, but the defender's advantage should be enough to make up for that.
The chat's catching up, by the way. It's oh god. Oh no.
Yeah, the commonly known cooking lesson.
True. It's how they do in Singapore.
Milk steak, yeah.
As a new catch the Immortal! The Force Shield!
Yeah, the Force Shield does catch an Immortal. The Warp Prism just nowhere near in position to micro that out of there. Yeah, we do see a very good concave here on top of Classic's Immortal, but Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be enough here. That hallucinated Stalker actually did take a couple of hits, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not going to be enough here for Creator to keep this momentum going, and as a result, Classic is going to be pulling ahead.
Yeah, Classic is pulling Creator apart. We get adepts across the map. 4 probes, 5 probes going to be going down at the same time. We drop into the main, but last Classic going to be able to keep up with the rotation. We go for even the warp in to defend. We will clean this up. We get 3 probe kills, but last Creator is forced out of the main.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, we're looking pretty even, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I do want to give Classic the slight edge, as I do believe that he got the Twilight Council earlier. Yep, he did, but he didn't research Blink until now.
Yeah,
never mind. Okay, so we're looking pretty even.
Oh, we're going for the Prism. The Prism taking a lot of hits, and alas, oh my god, it looks like it barely will escape, but it does abandon the army. The sentries, the Stalkers are going to be cleaned up. They do trade with some of the Stalkers, though. But what I'm concerned about, if you look at the army, if you look at the units tab here, Classic does have the Immortal lead and is now getting ready for his own push, for his own counterattack. Creator back at home is going to be expanding, and my apologies, Classic. Okay, yeah, we are moving out.
Here we go. Yeah, just gonna try to once again pick apart Creator. He knows that Creator can't really spread out his army as much as he would like to at the moment, so he's gonna get damage done somewhere.
Yeah, and already two Stalkers go down. The adepts stay shaded to the mineral line. 5 probe kills already.
Yeah, and unfortunately here for Creator, Immortals are not actually that good at dealing with Adepts.
Yeah, exactly. They take so many hits. That's going to be 9 probes going down, almost 10 at the same time. The Immortals, they still stand strong. They're still looking to harass. They force an overcharge here at the natural. As the dust does settle, Classic does take a worker lead.
Like so. Finally, things are looking a bit more clear-cut. Finally, it looks like we are starting to see the math work in one of our players' favor, and that player is Classic.
Yeah, not bad though. We get 4 probe kills at the natural. We shade into the main. Creator is getting some counter damage done and is tying up the worker count at the same time though. Classic also going for his own drop play, but the army's in position. Blink is done, and we can punish this.
Yeah, Creator looking to blink on top of the Warp Prism. He will be able to take it out, and he will clean up the rest of the Immortals as well. Creator pulling ahead here slightly when it comes to the army count, and actually reciprocating a lot of the probe damage as well across the map. So, once again, things are evening out. I still do think that Creator has a slight army advantage, and Classic has a slight economic advantage, but we're back on equal footing, basically.
Yeah, I mean, losing those 2 Immortals was massive, right? Like, Classic lost a lot of momentum in that moment, and now Creator is pushing in from multiple angles, moving out towards the 3rd base, and Classic, can he hold on? He does have the shield battery, he does have the overcharge.
Just the shield battery and the overcharge. Shield battery looking a little bit exposed. The force fields once again. Gonna completely trap that Immortal. Warp Prism comes in just in the nick of time for the hot pickup.
Okay, clutch Prism, Michael. But we snipe the Prism does go down. We lock down the army as well. We throw down the force fields, and these 3 Immortals, they can hold their own. They will clean up those Stalkers. At the same time, Creator losing almost everything here. He does still try to hold his own, but alas, he bleeds out so much. Oof.
Yeah, it was a pretty good concave initially from Creator, but he just could not deal with the sheer amount of Immortals. GG is called. Classic, gonna bring us a match point. 2-0 in this best of 5.
GG, well played. Classic does take a 2-0 lead. One more game is all that Classic needs to make it or to become this week's champion. And Creator is up against the wall. Creator, as you mentioned, had his own moments here, but for the most part, Creator, he was kind of on the back foot. He was stuck, attempting to defend, struggling to defend, and it was Classic the one that was able to gain the advantage, take leads, and look strong in that game.
Yeah, indeed, he did. Things were looking pretty even here and there, but like you said, it was just these little things that Classic was doing, right? That gave him slight advantages here and there, getting more Immortals and whatnot, until eventually, yeah, it kind of, I don't want to say it snowballed, but it did stack up, and it did mean that Classic had a pretty, had at the very least, a noticeable advantage going into that final engagement.
Mhm.
You're saying mix your mules, melt your mules.
Ah.
No, 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 no. Those are not cooking. No, 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 no.
Why does milking mules make odd sense? I mean, mules
Hey,
are
it's
like
a robot. It's
yeah,
a drone.
they're robots. So I feel like if you milk mules, you're just like extracting oil from them, right? Question mark or
Yeah.
something. Like,
Cooking oil, yeah.
no, that's why don't put cooking oil in your mules. That's not how that works, man. Oh god. Someone please update this stream for adult audiences. It's okay, Pappy. It's
We
okay.
are. We're adults here.
Oh,
You know?
no.
I'm an adult.
Technically true. It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
As we dive into game number 3 of our best of 5 grand finals here for ESL Open Cup Asia, number 235. We are spawning into post view, where over here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left, we of course have our blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. Is of course going to be representing Blacklist International. We have Creator.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player from South Korea representing Twisted Minds. It is a classic. One game away from becoming our champion. Creator is up against the wall, and I'm ready for an odd one here. We don't often get to see many PvPs on Post U.
That we do not. I'm trying to think of the last time we did. I want to say... I feel like Nightmare was involved for some reason.
Maybe. I think... Yeah, I'm sure we've seen a PvP on this map before, but I'm curious how this plays out. The reason for this is because this is like Side Delta to the extreme, where gate expands are the go-to, right? They need to be, they have to be, because of the hybrid or because of the pocket base that you have available here. So you can cut corners, you can be greedy. You could also try to punish the greed. I'm curious how our players will approach this.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the sheer oddity of post-youth, right? And that both of those things that you said about the first expansion, or the typical first expansion, is true. It is a pocket base. It is also a hybrid base.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also your first expected expansion. Not sure if we can can we call it a natural base? I mean, it would be. It's the natural first expansion that... you would get, but also I feel like when we say natural base, we're thinking of the base on the low ground.
Yeah, it can be a little bit awkward to refer to the base as well, but we do see Creator went
base.
Yeah. Creator went double gas into a faster tech structure, so we're going for an Oracle-based opener. Meanwhile, Classic has not done so. It looks like Classic wants to expand instead, just waiting for those minerals to bank up, and it looks like we have a role reversal. Classic going for the more greedy or economic opener, Creator being the aggressor.
And we'll see if this pays off for him.
We shall see. Initially, we do see Classic moving out with the Stalkers, does poke away at the Adepts, getting a couple of hits in here and there. I believe Classic has scouted the tech. He is aware that the expansion of Creator was slightly delayed.
Yeah, we'll see if he's going to be able to take advantage of that. So far, Classic with his Stalkers being very forward with them, is chasing back. Oh, chasing back a lot of Creator's army, and will take out the Oracle as well. And it looks like he's going to clean up the rest of the army too.
Creator's in trouble.
This is the worst possible opening here for Creator.
Yeah, Creator, he's in a lot of trouble right now. We have a shield battery on the way. We're amassing up units back in the main base. So far, the Oracle opener has achieved nothing. And Classic, he wants to go for the kill. Ooh, he will bleed out a Stalker here on the front lines, but we have a proxy gateway right in the face of Creator.
And he knows. Classic knows that Creator knows about this too. This is very brazen. This is full hero.
It's very bold. Yeah, very bold of Classic. The gateway is under fire. We're going to be reinforcing. Initially, we do have the one Stalker getting a couple of hits in on the Oracle. Reinforcements are on the way. Not going to be easy, but Classic, he's still going to save this gateway and to keep the proxy going.
Yeah, and honestly, there's just very little DPS here for Creator, and yeah, he knows that one Stalker and one Oracle is not going to be enough, so he has to retreat. He has to just allow Classic to get this proxy up and running and scramble for a second defense.
Yeah, he does need to. I mean, again, we have the high ground, we have the shield battery, we have the overcharge. Like, we have a decent setup here on the high ground with the Void Ray. But alas, we are contained. At the same time, the Oracle does get across the map, but we have a shield battery in position. Oh.
Yeah, single Oracle is not going to be able to take out Probe, so instead we see that Stasis Ward, but a Stasis Ward is very easy to avoid, like so.
Yeah, we also avoided, we forced a defensive warp in as well. That does mean that Classic is that much less across the map, and we're stabilizing. We're taking up. You can see Classic working towards a Twilight Council for a blink. He's containing his opponent, but his opponent contained to this kind of 2-base setup is not too bad.
Yeah, it's a hybrid base that we've got here, so not the worst in the world. I'm not so sure if this is a good idea from Creator to be mining out this wall. Feels like it is just giving Classic another opening.
Yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword here, as we do see some probes falling across the map. That's going to be 3 worker kills to the Oracle. Not bad, as we do see eventually Creator going to be breaking out. Additional gateways are on the way. That's going to be a 5-gate setup here on 2 bases for Creator.
Yeah, so that's a lot more production coming out from him. Classic now switching gears a little bit, focusing more on getting his tech up and running, grabbing that Robo facility. And he knows that he never really needs to push into this. If he does, he's giving up all of his map control. He's allowing Creator to just break free and possibly counterattack as well.
Exactly, and here we go. Creator is breaking out. As you mentioned, this is basically a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in out of Creator. The hallucinations will confirm the gateways, and now we are breaking out. Back at home, Classic. Can he survive the counterattack? He has a 3rd base. He's been greedy. We need shield batteries. We need shield batteries, immortals, anything we can to hold on, to survive.
Well, so far, so good from the side of Classic. We got sentries.
True. Do have sentries. At the same time, double Oracle towards the main base does threaten the mineral line. So far, Stalker in position. Likewise, Classic does hold the line, and Creator, he is expanding. He's going for the gold.
Yeah, anything he can get right now to get ahead is going to be crucial. And I don't think that we're going to see Creator commit too hard. I mean, obviously, he's going to blink into the natural base, see what he can get away with. Possibly take out a Forge. Okay, not quite.
Going for the Forge, and he will snipe it. It does cost him a lot of Stalkers. A lot of Stalkers go down, and Classic comes in for the punish, and the Stasis Trap goes off.
And just enough Stalkers got caught in it that I don't think Classic really has enough momentum to counterattack.
Yeah, and
meanwhile, we have the Oracles diving into the natural.
Yeah, at the same time as Classic moves out, the Oracles move in. A Creator, the layup here, able to trap the army with the Stasis, able to drag it out of position. The Oracles come in. Very nicely done here. Creator, he's bouncing back.
Yeah, and he's bouncing hard.
Like a basketball.
More Stark. Exactly. He's going for the dunk.
He's going for the dunk, Papi. Let's go. Looking for some high ground vision for the time being. We are moving out. There we go. We see Creator going in with the 1 Stalker, and he will just dive right into the main.
Nice. And he will once again deny +1 round weapons. A couple of mortals are about to pop out here for Classic, though, so he has to be very, very careful. Good move here with the force fields. Actually makes it that much more difficult to blink out.
Yeah, Stalkers are shaved up, but at the same time, Creator doesn't care because of the goal base. He can afford some of these losses. He can contain his opponent. Classic is unaware of the 3rd base that's been taken. Classic has not seen the goal base, not yet. And as a result, the longer this goes on, the better it's going to be for Creator.
Yeah, well, potentially. Economically, it's absolutely going to be better for Creator, but he doesn't have a Robo yet. Yeah, he doesn't have a Robo yet. He's relying entirely on gateway units. He is getting a Templar Archive, so a couple of Archons are going to be are going to be nice to have, but Classic is still way ahead when it comes to tech and is going to have a more sophisticated army as this game continues.
Yeah, exactly. As we're building up towards Archon production, Classic is working towards Immortals instead. So in a head-on Stalker versus Stalker fight, I do favor Classic here with those Immortals, but it's not about the Stalkers. It's going to be about the Zealots and the Archons instead.
Yeah, and saying that Classic does have that Robo facility, he doesn't have a Templar Archives yet, so that splash damage is going to be absolutely crucial against the charge lots that Creator's building towards.
Yeah, both players working towards those Archons here. High Templar initially on the way for Creator, soon to be Archons. Fourth base in production as well. Classic now taking the gold as his fourth is going to be catching up in the economies. But when it comes to the main army clashing, I do want to give the edge to Creator. We'll see if he can maintain that lead, though. He does pick up a pylon.
Yeah, not too bad. Keeps the potential supply of Classic down. A couple more Blinks forwards and a Stasis Ward! Okay, catches a couple of Stalkers.
Does graze the army there. We have another backup Stasis behind this. Creator popping off with those Oracles. Was killing probes earlier, but these Stasis traps have really been paying off so well for him.
Yeah. Classic just never expecting them. He's getting a Observer out now, I believe. Yeah, he has Observer out now, and so that should just about be the end of the Stasis Wards being effective here.
Yeah, Oracles, they dive into the main, they get 2 probe kills, they take a couple of hits here and there, but lastly they wreak havoc at the third.
Ooh. Here we go. It's the final hurrah of these Oracles. I think Creator has realized that they're not going to be too useful as this game continues, but what a way to go out, taking out 14 probes.
Yeah. Jesus, we cripple the economy of a Classic, and now Creator, he's building up, he's looking to overwhelm, he has a massive army, heavily reliant on these Zealots, but that's what the Archons come into play, and Creator, can he overwhelm this?
We shall see. Classic able to get a couple of volleys off on top of these Zealots, but he still is heavily reliant, for the most part, on his Stalkers. Warp Prism goes down, and so he can no longer micro these Archons or these Immortals, and now we still have plenty of Zealots where that came from, plenty of Archons as well. GG. Creator going to be fighting back, taking game number 3.
GG, well played. With the power of the gold base, with the power of that influx of minerals that translated to an insanely large army, getting into that mass Zealot, of course, with Archons to support, with the Stalkers to support, and the Creator did well for himself there. We have a series.
Indeed, we do. It's not going to be a full sweep, which is what we were hoping for here. But I should clarify, we were hoping that it wouldn't be a full sweep. Nobody likes one-sided series, typically.
Yeah, it's not going to be a one-sided series here. It's going to be more of a back and forth, and that was a wild game out of Creator. Remember, it all started with Classic going for the proxy. The proxy did kind of fall on its face early on. Creator, meanwhile, was able to do so well harassing across the map. The Oracles did so well for themselves. Likewise, the positioning, the movement, the stasis traps. That was a really exciting play out of Creator.
Yeah, and it's starting to get me pretty excited as we get into game number 4. We see hopefully something similar coming out for Creator. It completely slipped my mind, but thinking back in that game, that was the worst possible start that Creator could have gotten.
Yeah.
Classic taking out his Oracle, his Zealot, his Adept, and then just keeping him contained on those 2 bases, but no, those 2 bases. One of them was a hybrid. One of them had some gold minerals, and sometimes that's all you need to break out and get the ball rolling. And hopefully that's something that we see similar here in game number 4. Gonna be kicking it off on Alcyone, where we're here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left. We of course have our blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing Blacklist International. We have Creator.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. Does drop a map, still leading the series, still 1 game away from becoming our champion, but has been shown to bleed in the grand finals. Can he bounce back? It is Classic.
Okay. See, the problem with that last game? Classic embraced Hero too much
True.
with that proxy.
You got a little bit too excited, Papi, a little bit too excited, but it's okay. It's okay. We can calm things down. We can settle on in. And we see Creator being a little bit cheeky. The probe is out on the map, and we're going for our second pylon, not in the main.
Yeah, not an obvious proxy location either.
Yeah, and
compared to what Classic's planning.
yeah, so both players are going for proxy pylons. Now, Classic is looking primed for a proxy Stargate. I'm curious if Creator will do the same as, never mind. Okay, the pylon finishes and the probe does abandon the pylon. So this is a fake proxy pylon out of Creator. This is a real proxy pylon out of Classic.
You know, he's going to throw down the Nexus there. That's what he's going to do. Get that rich vest feed.
Would be a wild way to bounce back, but here we go. So again, Creator just faking a proxy. Classic is aware that the pylon is missing, so we should be on the hunt for that pylon. Yeah, you can see Classic is at least maneuvering around, but for the most part, Classic is going to be the aggressor, and with this Stargate, we should be working towards an orc.
Yeah, already a pretty good sign from Classic is that he is not overreacting to what he scouted. This is a fake-out proxy coming out from Creator. And he's hoping that it's going to prime Classic to play a bit more defensive in the early game, stay back at home, and maybe overreact and not get an expansion. And Classic isn't getting an expansion, but it's not because he's playing defensively. No. Quite the opposite, in fact.
Yeah, as we do see, Classic is looking for the pylon, and it looks like he will scout it. Nice movement here to Classic. He will come across the fake pylon, and Classic is now aware, of course, that there's nothing to really be afraid of. There's nothing to be concerned about, and he can get into his own build. At the same time, Creator, he also saw the missing pylon, and back in the main base, I don't see a shield battery.
Yeah, no shield batteries. We have a shield battery, I think, in the natural base, but not here in the...
Yeah, not in position. GG, just like that. Creator, he gambled, was hoping it was a fake proxy. It was real, and Classic takes the series.
GG. My heart goes out. A little bit of an anticlimactic way to end that series, especially after a very, very intense game number 3, but alas, 'tis PvP, and sometimes sometimes you do wager a little bit, sometimes you do take that risk in the early game with those build orders. When you don't have that complete information, you're going to be assuming it's one of two things. And so one of those things is going to be correct, one of those things is going to be wrong, and one of those responses is going to be correct, one of those responses is going to be wrong, and in this case, Creator unfortunately picked the wrong response.
Yeah, I mean, Creator, he probe scouted, and he saw that the pylon was missing, and he took a bit of a chance. He took a bit of a risk by going for the setup on the low ground. He had triple sentry, but the main base was so exposed. It was wide open. There was nothing there. Creator cutting a corner, and he was punished for it in the end. And yeah, the game can sometimes just end then and there. So a brutal way to end the series. But what I will say is that, I mean, again, we saw moments of brilliance. We saw Game 3. Like, Game 3 was a beautiful game out of Creator. Like, he was, in a way, almost just outplaying Classic in many times in that game on post-truth. It was just really, really cool to see. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to replicate that success, though, in some of these other games.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking up game number 3, obviously, as that's a game that Creator won, and he won it in style very beautifully as well. But game number 1 and game number 2, when it was macro play, Creator was keeping up very, very well against Classic. Classic, obviously, I think was always in control of those 2 games, but there were a couple of moments where his grip kind of loosened, or Creator was able to force his grip to loosen a little bit, and yeah, there were those individual moments of brilliance, like things like sniping the Warp Prism and whatnot, but yeah, in the end, Classic, he is just kind of at the top of the game right now in Korea, him and Hero next to each other. And so it was going to be, Creator was definitely going to be the underdog here no matter what, and I think we did end up with the expected result, but a couple of moments in this series that Creator looked pretty good.
Yeah, and a shout out to Creator because it is not easy to make it to the finals, especially in ESL Open Cup Asia. It is a very difficult tournament series and tournament structure. It is not easy at all to make these deep runs, so very impressive performance here out of Creator. As you mentioned, right, like Classic is literally second best or top 2 Protoss in Korea and one of the best Protoss in the world, so no shame in dropping a series to Classic. And Creator even achieved something that many others could not, right? Like Classic had a more cleaner run on his way to the finals. Classic, he 2-0'd Rogue and he 2-0'd Trap. And yeah, it wasn't until of course Creator and also Jeshi, to be fair, earlier as well, where we were able to drop some maps. But yeah, Creator, he did something that Trap and Rogue struggled to do.
Yeah, very nicely done.
Yeah. GG. Well, other than that, of course, that is going to be wrapping up our broadcast for the day, for the night. Feels like a bit of a shorter broadcast today, but I'm more than happy to.
Because it is, yeah. It's been just over 3 hours, which, I mean, like you said, not the worst thing in the world here, especially after the intense weekend that you had.
For sure.
All those EWC qualifiers.
It was intense, Bappy. It was intense covering all the EWC qualifiers, and now we can get some rest. We can go to bed. Our next broadcast is going to be in less than 12 hours time. Our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow morning for ESL Open Cup, not Asia, Americas.
Yeah, the other side of the world,
Yeah.
Of the map.
Exactly. So if you're unsatiated,
crossover.
Yeah, there's some crossover, right? The Korean players that wake up early in the morning, a shout out to them, right? Dark, Hero, Classic.
Yeah, it's the Korean players or the Asian players who wake up early, and the EU players who stay up late.
Oh yeah.
And then the NA players who aren't degens.
There you
or
go.
the Americas players who aren't degens, now that the regions combined.
Americas, exactly. So if you're unsatiated, if you want some more StarCraft, then in 11 hours time, 11 hours, we will be live on this channel with ESL Americas. If you still want some more StarCraft before that, though, ESL Europe. ESL Open Cup Europe is going to be taking place as well. We won't be casting that. We're going to be sleeping during that event, as it is quite late here in Australia. And that should be covered by people by casters like Rotterdam, Wardy, maybe Steadfast, sometimes Zombie Grub, but mainly Rotterdam and Wardy. They have you covered with ESL Europe.
Yeah, the ones in the actual region itself. Right?
Yeah.
So, it's more appropriate and more, fitting.
It's crazy. The European casters, they cover the European event. Crazy. So
that's allowed?
Out of this world. So again, if you guys are interested in that, I believe that event is starting in a couple of hours time. I want to say around 5 hours. 4?
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours, something like that. I don't know when daylight savings. Is it daylight savings over in Europe? We don't have that over here, so. Because the seasons just don't change ever.
They just
so
always constant. Yeah, as you said, 4 hours time. 4 hours time is ESL Europe. So do check that out if you're interested to check out some of the more European-centric players. Otherwise, Yaku, thank you for joining me.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me here tonight. Do appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be here once again. Had to come in and glad to witness what we saw again. I was kind of expecting a bit of a lower turnout this evening, but yeah, I'm glad that we still had plenty of players who are still competitive, are still looking to compete in these weeklies, and yeah, giving it their all. Even some of the players who are qualified for Esports World Cup, who I was kind of expecting them to be a little bit more secretive in their practice here.
I'm telling you, these players, they gotta eat.
Keep going.
They gotta eat.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. Oh man, if only. Yeah. I was gonna say, if only Zest was still here, we would see him competing in literally all 3 Open Cups the night before the finals of EWC or something like that.
100%.
As he did in IEM Katowice 2021, literally the morning of his grand finals against Raynor. He was here in ESL Open Cup Asia. Because back then we had it on Sunday mornings instead of Monday evenings.
Oh, the ESL Open Cups. You know, Zest, he was a grinder. He was on that grind set regardless of what was going on. Always there to compete, always there to play. But with that, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. Thank you so much everyone for watching. If you want to support us, ! socials in the chat, and you can follow us on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord, all things CranKy Ducklings. Likewise, Yaku, thank you for joining me tonight. Yes. You stream occasionally. Is there any...
Oh, that's a signal.
Is there any sign of a stream to come in the near future?
Well, there's definitely gonna be one next month.
Oh.
As we mark a momentous occasion, and maybe in the build-up to that, I might stream a little bit here and there, just so it's not so much of a shock when I come in.
What is this momentous occasion?
It's my annual it's my annual drink alcohol and fiddle around in MS Paint stream.
Let's go, let's go. So check out Yakuzaku 1 on Yakuzaku 1 on Twitch. Again, you can click on his name to get a link to his personal Twitch channel. Likewise, I try to stream whenever I can as well, whenever we're not casting. So I might be streaming a little bit tomorrow or the day after that. We'll see when we are available and when we are free. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for ESL Americas. Check out our YouTube channel. We do stream on YouTube, not just on Twitch. And we'll see you guys tomorrow with some more StarCraft action. Yaku, do you have anything you want to say before we head up for the night?
I completely missed it. It slipped my mind, but somebody in chat earlier on when we were discussing Scarlet being in China, somebody asked me what languages I speak. I speak all of them.
It's not true. It's not true at all. It's not. Don't let him lie to you. Don't let him lie to you. Oh, no. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the support. And remember, everyone, don't forget to milk your mules.
Yeah. Then mince them.
See you next time.